Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Blue Thunder Pod, WWE edition. I'm your host, Billy Sullivan. With me, as always, my mom's favorite podcast host, and I bet he pronounces Montreal better than Pat McAfee, Dave Linovich.
I don't know French. I hate that they omitted Montreal.
Oh, it's a big part of my review of this Raw.
Montreal.
Yeah. Their lack of that, the effort to make it happen.
Yeah.
It was upsetting.
Yeah. Raw was tough. SmackDown was in Detroit, Michon.
I watched SmackDown like as it occurred this week, and I know I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Raw.
It had one of the best angles of the year.
Yeah. Well, I do think that Raw's high note this week was the highest WWE note of the week, but just the 3-hour thing, man. Like they can't. My hopes, I'm going to start judging WWE a little bit more harshly because they've proven to me that like they can produce television that's entertaining.
Yes.
Now, like very recently, even on Raw,
as of 8 days ago.
Yeah. But like even Raw, like Raw, it's been paced well and stuff. So like, if I do find it sound nitpicky this week with Raw particularly, it's because I'm doing that. It's because I'm like, I know you can do it, Triple H. I know you're capable of pacing these shows the way that they should be.
Right.
So essentially, I'm gonna hammer on trips for the TV stuff as hard as I would AEW for a bad in ring.
Right. Usually, he gets high marks from you. Usually.
Yeah, I like.
So this is good.
That's
though.
why I'm gonna get harsher on them for the TV stuff because I know they can do.
I think it's
incredibly well.
It's very important to be not very critical, but to hold things like you're holding Triple H to the coals a little harder because you're like you're better than this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I tried to do it with AEW. Even before we started the podcast because of that reason. Yeah. Because they do this thing that I didn't have for 30 years. Yeah. Now I have it, but we need to the AEW fandom needs to stay critical.
Right.
Which I think they are. They very much show that with their pocketbook. And the show's going good
and a lack of attendance.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like
pocketbook.
It's like White Sox fans don't show up for games when they're not good.
I don't know why.
It takes a long
Team's
time
amazing
to turn around. Dave, what were your thoughts on the week in wrestling, particularly Raw? But yeah, we could talk about SmackDown as well. Obviously,
I mean, there were a handful, literally a handful of just home runs. There really were, and they're teeing up a bunch of they're doing a lot of really good business stuff for what's coming down the pipe. They're really pushing we're going to France, we're going to Backlash, we're going to be in France. I heard that. Did you hear the pay-per-view schedule that they're having with the international and the national stuff?
I know that they have Germany coming up in France. I didn't see a hard schedule or anything.
I didn't see a schedule, but I heard somebody talking about it who's in the know that loves stars. I'm winking. It's Meltzer.
Sorry. I thought you meant like performers. So I was like, Mason?
Super Mario? He loves that. Woohoo!
Who doesn't love a star?
Who doesn't? Everybody's a star. Superstar.
Elevated.
Star. Right? Yeah. Bowie. Starman. I'm digressing.
Oh, now you're making me think of the Jared Cruz. Damn you, Dave.
They're looking to do the big four in at least Canada and the United States, and 3 of which they want in a stadium of some kind, and every other pay-per-view is going to be international, which is awesome.
That's very cool. I remember Cena at some point. I think it was over the last year, teasing that they were going to try to do London for WrestleMania at some point.
That'd be cool.
He was just playing to the crowd, but because when they were in England.
Yeah.
But he kept saying it. I did hear a rumor today that Vegas might be the top candidate for next year's WrestleMania because they haven't. Usually they would announce it on the day of WrestleMania. Right. They didn't do that this year. Right. All they did was Nick Khan on Twitter or something said, I can tell you it's not going to be in an outdoor stadium in the Northeast next year, but I can't tell you quite where it is yet. And a lot of people are speculating that that's because it's Vegas and there's a lot of moving parts when you're doing a thing in Vegas, so that's why they haven't announced yet. I could see that happening. NFL's done it now, and
UFC's there
UFC's
all the time,
constantly in a TKO. That's probably where their base operations is. I don't know that for sure, but I bet it is.
As we saw with WrestleMania 9. It's only amplified so much. How much money do you think the Aria and the Win are going to throw at like, hey, get this here so I can get all my sharks in my casino.
I don't even understand how they made so much more money on this WrestleMania than the last one. Like, I know that it's like publicly traded, so it's true.
Right.
They made, because it was like 3 times more or something. But like, you filled the place last year too.
Did it sell out last year, both nights?
I think so.
Was it?
It was pretty hot last year too. That was like Sammy.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Everybody thought Cody was going to win. Like,
in the what they're calling main event of night one.
Yeah.
I actually was thinking about that. If you only went to night one of WrestleMania, that technically was the main event. I know that's something that you and I agree on. That's a BS term.
I would be like, oh, it's too bad you missed the main event of the show you went to. You only caught the first half.
You left halfway through.
They literally told the story through 2 nights too.
Yeah.
So like,
they did the same thing this year.
It's the salesman bullshit.
Yeah. It worked. I mean, no, I don't know what they did differently. I don't know. Maybe the product's hotter. Maybe the ticket prices are more expensive. Maybe people are buying more merch.
The price. Maybe the price would have made.
They're
sense
making money on house shows now. Like,
maybe that's what they knew they were gonna. But this was not not a year-end thing. It was just for WrestleMania itself. Supposedly made 3 times more than the previous year. I'm like, you only have so many tickets you could sell. How was it? It wasn't 3 times bigger. So I bet you're right though. I bet it was just demand was high enough that they could raise the price that much for those tickets.
At least that makes sense. Travel packages,
because otherwise I can't. Like, the buy rate's got to be similar. Tickets is the only thing I could see being a big difference.
Right.
I don't even think the buy rates are out yet. Usually it takes a while for those to come out.
The buy rate for Revolution just came out. We could talk about that on the AEW show. Shockingly, it was awesome because Sting retired. But no, so speaking of buy rate, I'm going to go back to SmackDown real fast, which was in Detroit, Michigan.
I didn't watch it, just to take notes. I love the 2 hours so much more than the 3.
I just like, because I watch it on Hulu, and I like seeing 1 hour and 30 minutes left to watch, because, if you cut all the commercials out. This was another sold-out show. This will be the last sellout of their streak, but they actually cover all the sellouts. Raw did not sell out. It missed sellout by like 300 tickets.
Yeah, I mean, they may as well sell out every show at this point.
Yeah.
It's
300
effectively a sellout everywhere they go.
Like, it was because they started doing something cool. We'll get to it when they get to the map. But they're also keeping, I think we talked about this already, they're keeping the presentation with the kind of the Titantron and the screen. They're keeping that permanently because they want to get more bodies in the building.
I think it looks better always.
Yes. It's got such an ECW vibe to it now.
100%.
Yeah,
it's
so cool.
Madison Square Garden. They always had to do layout there, not necessarily because of the number of seats, but because of the layout of that building. Like, they couldn't do the full Titantrons. I was like, oh, that just looks cooler. It feels like a wrestling show. It doesn't feel like a commercial or something.
No, and like, the goal is to sell tickets, and if you're going to pack a building, why would you voluntarily turn people away?
And as we talked about, like, the more people in the crowd, the better the TV product is.
Absolutely. Yes.
It just makes it.
And especially in certain markets.
It's easier to get excited
Detroit,
for something you're watching.
Montreal, when you have a Bret Hart situation. Montreal. The SmackDown started with Cody in the ring. I got a big problem with Mr. Rhodes already. I need him to drop the title.
Me too, dude. My first note on Cody is, I still love you, but you're not the kind of babyface that can be a champ for very long.
I don't want him champion.
You can't be Hogan, because you need to be like kind of a dick and dominant, and that's not Cody's thing, man.
No.
He's the underdog,
and he's like making friends with people.
The belt looks great. The new belt they got for him looks wonderful.
All the new belts look
we're very divided on the other titles, but I love the Cody ones.
Because they're just toys, right? So, like, they're trying to because they got the draft coming up, so they're differentiating between brands, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
Because the alternative is it's all the exact same belt, and it's a different color, like we had for years.
Yeah.
Or it looks like a big ass penny, and I hated the tag titles forever and ever.
Yeah.
They haven't been good since like the early 90s.
I would just go back to those. The World. Those are some of the greatest belts of all time.
So dope. But
demolition ass ones.
Yeah. And also too, it's a totally new generation. They could sell more toys.
Yeah.
But so Cody, who needs to drop the title right away.
Do you think he's going to be he's calling himself SmackDown Superstar now? Do you think he's just going to stop doing Raw?
Of course he is. Because when they're doing the draft, they're gonna it's gonna be a hard split.
Remind me, when they draft the title holders always maintain, right? You can draft the title holders?
They did that one year. They swapped champions.
I mean, like who knows what the Triple H era is going to give us.
Cody's
But, like,
not leaving SmackDown.
they
got that Fox money, baby.
The Vince era,
they got the Netflix money too.
the
though.
draft meant nothing ever.
Yeah.
Because they would do the draft and then just people would just randomly change without any reason but I'm thinking Triple H he's gonna want to stick to like his guns more. So it should be a more impactful draft, I think.
When they
this year.
started doing it, it was awesome because
I loved it.
It led to Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. It led to Goldberg and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
It's also something different that we just never seen before.
Yeah.
And I didn't love the
created
brand split when it
competition.
happened, but then the draft was a cool like thing that happened that came of that.
The draft was
for sure.
so much fun, and it's over 2 nights. That's next week. So it's always the draft is it's always right after WrestleMania. It's the weirdest time ever because they don't do it the night after WrestleMania. They wait like a month.
Yeah.
So like we have this month of limbo where we have to toollerate Jey Uso world title shots until they do a draft.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mace, but you know, oos no, boo. That was worse than yeet. But they do it too late, and now we're just in that limbo period where they're setting stuff up. But then if everybody gets drafted, it's a walk. Like
I'll give them this though. This is not as like down or limbo-y feeling as it has been for 10 years, 15 years.
No.
Like usually there's a huge WWE WrestleMania hangover where everything feels meaningless. And like if I was going to miss shows back when I was watching consistently before the podcast,
this is when you do it.
That would be when I would like take a break or whatever. I think a lot of people probably did that. I think they're probably trying to establish that, this is not going to be a lull time anymore because they're doing stuff.
Yeah.
Which they used to never do anything of like note.
No.
And they're doing that kind of shit, now.
Yeah.
But I agree. It is kind of a weird, like, we're doing stories, but we don't know who's going to be on what show in 3 weeks or whatever. So
and we'll hope for the best.
Yeah.
And then they would do that. They would draft, and then they would have like a pay-per-view, and they're like, well, after the pay-per-view, we're going to stick to this. It was just so weird.
Yeah.
But I digress. Cody comes out, and he recounts that The Rock interrupted him on Raw. He had a nice line for his wife. He says, someone from Detroit he knows would say, who the hell told you tonight was open mic night, bitch? And then he apologized for his cursing. Brandy Rhodes said that on AEW. So he dropped another little nugget.
Dave, I know. Okay. As AEW, it's not quite as spicy as CM Punk's cunnilingus reference when he referred to his wife on his promo, but it popped me just because there's an AEW
right.
thing.
And he apologized. He apologized for the cursing, right? Yeah. So
he better fucking drop that title
immediately.
He can't be this guy and the champ.
No. And then he's making like dad jokes. That's on Raw and shit.
Yeah,
but,
that all works as the underdog.
Yes. So he recounts. He's like, oh, I knew right when The Rock placed something in my hand, I knew what it was. And he said it was something he gifted to The Rock. It was uncomfortable. It was awkward.
Yeah.
What the hell did he put in it? It's like...
I still have no idea. I've seen a bunch of theories, and none of them are like, that's
I hope
great.
it's not the wristwatch, because that's their leading theory.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense.
No, of course. That's why I hope it's not the wristwatch.
Exactly.
Because they all got watches because they were in the main
I was
event.
so intrigued by the Never Break My Heart Again. And he said it with such like conviction and seriousness. I'm like, it's got to be good. I don't think they would.
I think that line right there made me hope even harder Cody's going to drop and not be like Super Cena-esque right away.
Yeah.
It's like, don't ever break my heart again. Like, oh, did Cody do a shitty thing?
Yeah.
What shitty thing did Cody do? Because Cody's been there for 3 years now?
Yeah.
And we haven't seen him...
3? 2.
2. We haven't seen him do anything except what he's doing for the last 2 years.
Yes.
It's the same character.
He's super babyface.
Yeah.
Like is, nerdy in a good way.
Yeah.
Babyface. I think Cody's too savvy to want to hang on to the belts like for a long period of time now. I've been saying for years, even arguing with my AEW brethren, that like he's smarter than you think. He's smarter than you think. He knows how to like work people and he knows this business better than anybody's given him credit for.
Yeah.
And I still think that if he had stayed in AEW, that like tweener character would have come to fruition. Full John Cena, like that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And he's proven that out when he got to WWE. He's made no wrong moves. I think that he's too smart to think that like he's the kind of babyface that should hold the title for very long.
Right.
He also is the guy that like banned himself from winning the AEW title. So I'm like, I think he knows.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not up to him, but I think that gives me hope that they're not gonna like.
Well, like I was also listening to the ratings for Raw this week, and Cody's segment did not do what they wanted it to do.
He's not fighting from underneath.
No, R-Truth crushed him.
Interesting. R-Truth's my favorite thing every week now.
The R-Truth segment was the where Raw peaked Monday. We're gonna get to Raw in a moment, but Cody says basically when The Rock comes back, he'll be waiting for when The Rock returns. He's like, he said he's gonna make me bleed. I'm gonna make him bleed. It's like once he brought up The Rock, my whole body just went. Yeah. Like this has been the last 4 months. Could we please give this guy something else to do?
It's like when you see a great movie and then you get all excited because you hear they're making a sequel, and then sequel starts and you're like, oh, they didn't have any ideas. They're just doing the same thing again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even like, at least Ghostbusters 2 had Vigo the Carpathian.
Oh, no, I love that because it's such a wild, long shot, different thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Gremlins 2 is my all-time favorite example of a movie. They wanted a sequel, and Joe Dante was like, no, it's a single movie. I'm not going to, and they're like, you could do whatever you want, final cut.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. And he's like, he made a comedy that made fun of Gremlins 1.
Right.
And it's amazing, but it's totally different.
Was that the meta one where they're like watching themselves?
Hulk Hogan's in the crowd and like
hot popcorn.
Yeah. It's an awesome movie. It's incredible, but like great Key and Peele sketch too.
But then you could have Back to the Future, which is the exact same movie 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
And by the first one, you're like, perfect movie. Second one, you're like, still pretty perfect. Third one, you're like, all right.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Same thing, just in the old.
Yeah.
Just get it.
But yeah, so he's moving on to something else, and it's not what I want it to be. I have a feeling I know where this. Nope. They didn't have that match yet. That's next week. We'll get to it.
This week, I didn't feel like they did anything with Cody that's going to be his next big thing.
Next big thing? No, but I mean, it's him and AJ.
Because it's early.
It's him and AJ. Like, there's no way.
That's a tweener, like, I shouldn't say tweener because it's the heel face thing, but like, that's a whatever pay-per-view title defense.
Right.
He's 0% chance he's dropping.
No. This is pre-draft time. They need something to fucking do. And they're not going to be. It's not going to be LA Knight. Like, I'm putting the ball before the car before the horse. Do you put the ball before anything? Did you put the bomb on it?
Behind the 8 ball.
You do behind the 8.
Be behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, that's time. Cody says in 3 weeks he goes to France for Backlash, and he's facing one of the 6 competitors competing tonight: Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, and someone that you can't seem to see for some reason, Robert Lashley.
Is that a new hire? Something new signing?
He's the guy that's been hanging. Is
he from CMLL or something?
It's those pants that have been floating around next to the Street Profits. He mentioned something fun here. He said him and AJ Styles are 2 of 4 men who have held both the WWE and NWA championship. I'm like, I should Google who the other 2 guys are. And I chose Girl Scout cookies instead. So I will never find out.
Now I'm just going to be sitting here thinking about that.
Ric
Flair.
Oh, hang on. Let's see. WWE and NWA World Champions.
I mean, Flair's for sure one.
List of NWA and World. NWA and WWE.
Steamboat never held the
World
WWE title.
That's from 2011. I don't know. List of NWA World Heavyweight Champions. Oh, there's going to be like a billion.
Brodus Clay never held the WWE.
Combined reigns, no. Let's see. EC3, Tyrus, Trevor Murdoch, Matt Cardona, Nick Aldis, Cody.
Yeah. That's all the modern ones that I know, and then the other ones are like Flair,
Rob Conway, like from La Resistance.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That was NWA.
Boom, boom, boom.
Ups and downs.
The Sheik, like the Sheik, Sheiky baby.
If it's not the Iron, it's got to be a different. And if the other one goes by the original always too.
This guy's 49, whoever he is.
Okay, so
this has to be awesome listening while I look through it. Christian Cage.
I can always edit this out if it's crap.
Christian Cage.
Was he with WWE champ?
Yeah, world champ.
Yeah.
Does that count? Sting Jarrett. No, Jarrett was world champ. Raven, AJ Styles. Okay, that's 2. Ron Killings. No. Ken Shamrock, Dan Severn, Hashimoto, Steve Corino.
I love Steve Corino.
Shane Douglas, no.
Corino's most underrated.
Great Muta, Ric Flair, so that's 3.
I said Flair.
But was he ever WWE champion?
We just watched the 92 Rumble, my friend. We did a show about it and everything.
My energy drink is not kicking in. Where are we? Barry Windham, Great Muta. Steamboat.
Like, these are all the guys I was thinking of. But,
Yeah,
but
Dusty Rhodes.
like, none of
No,
them-
we know he's never won a world
that's the whole
title.
story.
It's for the last 2 years of television. Harley Race,
Harley Race.
maybe. Well, we got 3 of them, right?
He was the king. I don't think he was ever WWF.
Terry Funk,
champ.
Jack Briscoe, Giant Baba, Tommy Rich.
Nope, none of those guys. Those were all.
Dory
I just
Funk
know
Jr.,
them from
Gene
NWA.
Kiniski, Buddy Rogers, Lou Thez. No,
I don't think so.
Bobo Brazil, Buddy Rogers.
Luthez is possible, but I don't think so.
This is a hell of a trivia question.
Now
Cody
we're getting
Rose.
back to WWF stuff.
Now we're back to Orville Brown, inaugural champion.
It's got to be
1948.
Christian. That's the only one that makes any sense
Yeah.
to me.
Well, then it would be Jared as well, because he was.
Did he hold the world as well?
Yeah, he was Oh, hang on, it might have been.
He could just be wrong or lying because this is wrestling. Maybe we should just move on.
When he was in WCW, he held the real world's championship. For some reason, my Chrome crashed.
We should do a list of who in every major promotion has ever held a title that they called the Real World's Championship.
Yeah.
At least Flair, Punk.
I'm good with 2. That's a good list right there. But anyway, so then he goes into like the thing I don't like him about, where he's like, I'm no longer the hunter, I'm the hunted. And a little word of advice: if you come at the king, you best not miss.
Yeah, no, you're not.
Boo.
You're not Roman, man.
Boo.
Don't do that.
Boo. And one thing I did like coming out of this, and I thought I heard it on Raw last week, it's just called the Undisputed WWE Championship now. That Universal nonsense it's super confusing, and so that's gone. So that's Cody.
Now the tag titles get to be confusing.
Yeah. I think just not everything on Raw is World. Wait a minute. No, and everything on SmackDown is going to be the Undisputed or WWE.
WWE.
Yeah.
Oh, it's that already. You're like,
Humming.
Maybe I'll give him till the end of the next week. And
backstage, they had Paul Heyman, Solo, and Jimmy Uso. They walk toward what they thought was their locker room, and they see American Nightmare, so they said it's clearly Cody's now. Kevin Owens walks past them, makes some kind of jibes. He's like, "Oh, I think there's a broom closet available or something like that." You guys can go
I remember him being amused. I don't remember what he said.
Yeah.
But it's Owens, so it was.
Owens
fun.
just makes so many little funny comments.
Did you ever
that
see his compilation video?
No.
It's great. It's like 5 minutes of Kevin Owens just being hilarious.
In WWE?
It's throughout his WWE career.
Steen as well?
Yeah. No, it's post-Steen. It's all WWE stuff. But it's just him doing the backstage stuff. And then every time he hits it right on the head.
The best one was the house show where he was rattling off how much money he makes.
Oh, yeah.
And
that
he's
was
cracking
incredible.
Roman up when he's got him in a headlock.
My favorite
that made me
TV
laugh.
one was the pre-ladder match, I think, for the Intercontinental title, when they all cut promos sitting on ladders.
Yeah.
And he was just like doing a stand-up set, basically. It's incredible.
So he walks past Heyman, Solo, and Jimmy Uso. Solo goes, "I'll take care of him, and I'll take care of this." And Heyman says, "Listen to me, please, Solo. Winning and losing matters here." Which I'm
That's
like, whoa.
I mean, that is a reference.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, it's taking a shot.
He's like, "Listen to me, please." But like it played. It played into everything.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
But like at first you're like, son of a bitch.
I want it to matter there too. So hopefully,
But
do
it wasn't like an out of the box, like clearly taking a shot at AEW.
No. I don't think
like,
there was any of that from anybody this week.
So he
There was
says,
some fun Twitter stuff. That's all.
Yeah.
Like,
Listen to me, please, Solo. Winning and losing matters here. There are consequences to losing. We lost. That's the champ's locker room, and Cody Rhodes is the champion. If we want our locker room back, the title has to come home to the bloodline, and that's by order of the tribal chief. All right? So Roman's not. He's Napoleon. He's calling shots from afar.
Yeah. I think they're probably going to keep him off TV for a while.
I hope they do.
I mean,
Heal
he's
that
still
man.
under that contract where he only has to appear 6 times a year or whatever. It'd be interesting to do what they're going to do with him not having the belt now that I think about it.
Well, he's not going to be on TV unless he's... It's either going to be like, I'm dealing with bloodline stuff or I'm dealing with the title. That's it. He's not going to get in a feud with fucking LA
The
Knight.
bloodline's going to be tough to do without the belt and without Roman on TV.
They're doing a good job of that
So far.
Yeah. Which I was pleasantly surprised. I'm like, oh, this is done. This is.
But eventually, you're going to
faction.
need a regular mouthpiece leader guy.
Yeah,
which they don't have
because they're. Yep. You're not wrong.
Both of their mouthpiece leader guys are now off TV, or one is limited television.
Yeah, and one is not of the actual bloodline. He is simply counsel. Now, the first triple threat match that is going. So the winner of these two triple threat matches that they have tonight They're gonna fight each other next week to be the number 1 contender to fight Cody at Backlash in France. France.
Did the crowd boo? Did they still hate France? I don't remember.
No. Cody's promo got no reaction.
Yeah,
so
I remember that being like, feeling weird.
Yeah. Because, again, he sucks now that he won. It was LA Knight versus Bobby Lashley versus Santos Escobar. I hate LA Knight. He's
not for me, Dave, is the way I would put it.
No.
He's only a promo. Like, he's not even that great a promo. He's only a WWE style promo guy.
I was going to say I hate his shoes because I highlighted a while ago that I'm like, I think he's trying to do the Jordan 11s. And then, like,
you mentioned it. And then I was like, hey, good catch.
And then he agreed that, like, or he said, yeah, they're Jordan 11s. But now they just look like knockoff Jordan 11s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, buy the
you
real
think they
J's.
altered them since?
There's a couple more details in there that I've noticed. Like,
to make them look like knockoffs?
Well, no, the only thing that's the same is the shape of the white against the black.
Okay.
But now, like, I could just be magic eyeing myself here. They could have done nothing, but I'm like, they're trying to make those look like, but they look cheap and fake, and he's not great, and his finish
I think
sucks.
to my point is the reason that you're paying so much attention to his goddamn shoes
the rest of
is
them
because it kind of sucks.
Yeah. I need something to look at.
Yeah,
while
exactly.
He's in the ring. Yeah.
That's great. Like, but that's it, dude.
Yeah, that's it.
your only thing.
That's it.
It's like Yeet.
Yes. It's better than Yeet. It's like, I mean, the Road Dogg was better, more fun.
Road Dogg could cut a promo.
Yeah. But, like, even like his, why did I say the Road Dogg?
Like a
Road
regular
Dogg's an
promo.
all-timer.
Yeah.
I don't know why I
one of the
said
best
that.
mics of all time. And not that I can't. He's good at cutting promos, but they have to be those like WWE.
Yeah.
He can't talk like
trips,
Drew or whatever.
He trips a lot, yeah. So triple threat match. They're always no DQ by default. So they finally like started leaning into that a little. So Angel and Humberto came in, who on behalf of Santos Escobar came into triple team LA Knight, and then they stomped out Lashley.
Yeah. I do want to say every time you say his name.
What's that?
I do want to say every time you say his name. So I guess got to give it to him.
Just say it real quiet. It's real quiet. Street Profits and B-Fab came out to help Lashley. And then the two teams fought outside. And then as they fight outside, LA Knight gives the BFT to Santos Escobar, and he gets the W. He's one of the two guys that's going to be competing next week on SmackDown for the opportunity to face Cody Rhodes. Cool.
Okay. I realized the BFT is very similar to the Steven Spielberg children's movie, the BFG.
Yeah.
That's all. My only thoughts.
Does that stand for Big Effing Giant?
I think it's Big Friendly Giant was the book. Of course, when I saw the movie, I was like, why are they calling this movie Big Fucking Giant? Because it's Big Fucking Gun from Doom.
Yeah.
That's what the original BFG is, as far as I remember.
Yes. You can't do that when you have a generation of people who own Doom.
Yeah.
So once LA Knight won this one, you saw who's in the next one, and you're like, cool. We already know where this is going. Next was Caleb Braxton was backstage with the LWO. So one side thread that they had is they're really pushing Rey Mysterio getting one more title run in his career, which I really liked. It's really kind of paralleled.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
He looks good. Like his gear, like he's wearing his comfortable gear again. Like he is like fat guy gear where he's like not feeling confident.
Yeah, we talked about it either last week or the week prior. He's like a marvel, a physical marvel at this point. And he's back to wearing his old skinny gear.
Yes, and he looks great in the ring, and like he just looks cool. Like he was backstage with the LWO, and I go, one of these things is not like the other one. Like Ray is just
he's the opposite of LA Knight.
Yeah,
he's not great at doing that WWE style promo. Yeah. But he's awesome at everything else.
Dude, he did some cool shit in this match too, where I'm like, I've never seen that before. But they're trying to figure out who attacked Dragon Lee because they're saying it wasn't
visa issues.
Wasn't Santa.
They're gonna go after the visa office.
That's funny. It's just the guy with the big stamp. Dragon Lee challenge you at SummerSlam. Ka-chunk, ka-chunk. And then he wins by forfeit because Dragon Lee has been denied entry to the country. But they're saying Santos Escobar, maybe he wasn't the one that attacked him. So now they got a whoddunit on their hands.
Don't put all the Lucha guys together. Make it somebody else.
I think it's going to be, well, you know what? My track record's not
Bronson
so hot.
with Reed.
No, they're already doing something worse with him.
Yeah,
like give Andrade, like maybe Andrade, it makes sense.
Mexican guy. We don't need to put all the Mexican guys together.
But like... if you're doing storyline, he replaced Dragon Lee in the match.
Yeah, sure.
So like
That
that's
would fit.
something for those two to do.
And Andrade needs something.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
I want Andrade to be good so bad I will watch him fail forever.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, he's an interesting guy to watch even when he's failing.
Like it's like Tin Cup, just ball. Come on, Andrade, ball. Just keep you already lost. Keep going, Bo. But yeah, Ray's focused on his match tonight, and he thinks he has another run as WWE champion, which I thought was cool. Because I'd love to see him.
Did he specify World, WWE, Universal, Undisputed?
He said WWE champion. At least they're nope. That. What I was gonna say is at least they're not doing a thing like AEW where they're bringing in some obscene amount of belts where I don't care. Like they're not bringing in like. There's no legacy like world title because like all right, you play the video game, you play 2K24, you can unlock every world title that's ever been there, and it's not even fun in the game to be like I'm the circa 1998 world champion. It's like it's not fun.
No.
It's not fun for me. But another wrestling company does that.
Well, while I agree with you that AEW has too many belts, and thankfully, as you guys can hear if you tune into the AEW podcast, it will drop at the same time as this one. Plug. It looks like they're eliminating one of those, which is very exciting. But for me, the most important thing is to only have one big title, which the AEW does, and WWE is not do. And
they're going to justify that because of the brand split. That's the only
I know I know why they're doing it. I think they're wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's and nobody ever has considered. No. Both titles on the same level. There's always been one's the real one, and right now the one that's on Raw is the third best singles title. Like so,
SmackDown's got the
can't
top
have two world titles. Only one champ, dude. Just like there's only one main event.
Yeah.
There's only one champ. To be the man, you got to beat the man. Ric Flair was right. So if you don't beat the man, you can't beat a man. I'm
just excited that there's a brand. I know Stuss loves brand splits. I'm just really happy for him. So next we had In the Ring, and this was an awesome segment. You had Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, this was good.
And Jimmy Uso. Heyman is on the mic. He says the Bloodline does not offer any excuses about WrestleMania. Don't blame The Undertaker. Don't blame John Cena. Don't blame Jey Uso. Accountability is a very big word on the island of relevancy, and Roman Reigns has ordered that they accept accountability. He said, what happened at WrestleMania 39? Reigns was calm, cool, and collected, and Cody got distracted for a second, and Cody got, basically.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot of alliteration again.
Yeah. At WrestleMania 40, Cody flipped the script, and then they're trying their hardest. I think I'm the only guy on planet Earth that sees that this is not fucking working, that Seth was not Cody's Shield. That story does not track. It does not make sense. And they tried real hard to shoehorn it in again.
I think you're right that it didn't work.
Yeah.
Like that part, because on the night, I was like, oh my God, he just looks like an asshole.
Yeah. But he also lost.
In retrospect, I was like, oh, I see what they were going for. I just don't think it landed.
No, they had to do something to make Seth's involvement passable.
Yeah. And in retrospect, like, it could have worked. It could have been great, but like you said, there were holes because of what actually happened.
Yeah, they fought.
They always try to pretend shit doesn't happen.
There's been revisionist history in WWE.
Yeah. So like that, whatever. I'm not going to worry about. But like, had they landed it there, like it could have been a cool story. Some people thought it was. Like I was like, oh, he just looks like an asshole again.
Yeah.
But like I do understand what they were going for. I just think it didn't work. Like,
put his little costume on just to get beat up.
I do like that too.
It was him in the wrong side of the
ring.
He looked like a guy that like just ran out of the crowd. Just like, remember the one guy with the flak jacket ran out of the crowd and they're like, was it? And why? It's like, is that your guy? Is that your mystery third guy? So Seth but Heyman's going on and he's saying Seth said he would be Cody Shield at WrestleMania 40 because Roman said that was the one piece of unfinished business in his life. And he said Roman could have smashed Cody, but he smashed Seth instead. And he said, why? Well, because after 10 years of waiting for revenge, to avenge the Shield betrayal, Roman gave into temptation because he has a
betrayal. He already avenged it. That Rumble you're talking about,
Royal
right?
Rumble 22, he choked him out and won the match. Well, he lost via DQ because he wouldn't. Roman choked out him already. But he said Cody was prepared and he took the advantage. And then Solo gets in Heyman's face, and he says, just reminds Heyman that winning and losing matters, and there's consequences to losing, and consequences need change. And he pushes Heyman aside, and he looks right at Jimmy. Jimmy's all pissed off. He's like, "What the fuck are you looking at me for?" Right? Yeah. And then Solo
you had a less than 1-star match at WrestleMania. Yeah. Everybody should be pissed at you.
I should be in charge of shit now. Solo hugs him slowly, says, "You're my brother. I love you." Turns his back around, walks away. And then Jimmy gets attacked by a debuting Tama Tonga.
Yeah.
The son of Haku.
It was cool.
It was so cool. He looked awesome.
I was immediately irritated after the show, though, because, of course, I had to go into the discourse and see people trying to tell me that Tama Tonga is a good wrestler, which he's an average wrestler.
Yeah, you don't have to be a good wrestler.
No. In WWE, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And it worked perfectly. It was great. It was great.
It looked awesome.
It was the right time to add somebody. He was a good choice to add. I think it's funny he's the oldest member of the Shield now. But yeah, like I just was irritated by wrestling fans, and it was my fault for wading into those waters. This was handled very well.
They're entertaining. You know what's real fun? Anytime AEW announces a new Fight Forever DLC pack.
Yeah, it was $10 on Amazon today, by the way.
What? So, okay, if you want to have fun, go on their Instagram and just look at the comments, and it's people are furious that they bought it. They want a refund. Yeah. Everything should be free after this point. You guys couldn't drop the ball any harder.
If they just made everything free, that would have been the move.
Yes.
They could have kept it full price, the regular game, and then just did all the DLC that they added should not have been extra charges.
Nope. Especially when the gimmicks are like a year and a half old at this point. I hear the one that Samoa Joe just came out. It's like it's the tag team maybe had with Wardlow when they were a tag team.
I forgot that happened. War Joe, because I remember the name. That's all.
It was World of War, something like that. Something with Warren. It might have been War Joe. Now that I think of it,
that might not have been their like official, but people
World
called them
War Joe.
I remember people calling them War Joe, which would have been better than
World War Low. I think that might have been it.
Wardlow must have come up with that one. Then.
Yeah. So Tama Tonga picks up Jimmy Uso, and Solo spikes him 4 fucking times. And it looked awesome. And Heyman's like pleading, "Please don't do that." So Solo walks over. He walks Heyman to the middle of the ring because Heyman's like cowering in the corner. And Solo non-verbally suggests that, raise your finger. We're going to acknowledge. And Solo's getting kind of brassy here. Like, hey, maybe I'm in charge now.
This is the most he's ever talked too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Heyman, this guy's a treasure. He starts voice dialing to call Roman Reigns on his phone. Call Roman Reigns.
Well, to call back to his goofy 2-phone, 2-gimmick thing.
And then Solo slaps his phone down and stomps on it. Tama Tonga gets a chair, holds it in front of Jimmy Uso, who is in the corner, and does the he Pillmanizes him. He puts the chair around his head, and then he does the hip attack. So I guess Solo's like the de facto leader now.
It seemed that way, yeah.
Which I'm so fine with.
I don't know that he's got the charisma talking chops.
He 100% does not. But Heyman's doing something different. It has shuffled everybody.
My judgment here is not on this segment. I thought this went real well.
Yeah.
And it's different, so it's cool.
Yeah.
It's different. It's not. I don't 100% understand why Jimmy's the fall guy, but
1-star match.
But I know. I would fire him from WWE and wrestling in general. He can go be the next NWA champ.
He somehow looked better on this show in his street clothes than he did wrestling.
Yeah, it was just a bad vibe on that match. But I'm just forecasting in the future. I think they need. As we'll find out on Raw too, a faction needs a very charismatic front person.
Right. Oh, yes. I see what you're getting at. But also, too, I think Roman's going to come back as a lava hot babyface. So I think he's just going to fight his own bloodline.
That's hard not to do. Whenever a big star leaves wrestling for a while and then returns, it's like it was the MJF thing when Jericho told him, "You're going to be a babyface." He said, "I don't want to be a babyface. It doesn't matter. You're going to be. If you're gone and you come back, you're a babyface."
Yeah. Yeah. So all good things. Good on them though that they're keeping them separate from. It's their own little contained world, right? So, they're not impacting anything else because there's a lot of cool stuff happening, and, let's not muddy the waters if we don't have to.
It'll be neat to see if they continue to do that, without the belt involved. Yeah. Because I like when that happens, too.
Yeah.
In WWE, at least, having another story, an offshoot story that is, it's like you said, the Codyverse. People used to bitch about that, but I enjoyed it. Having another separate thing. It's a way to keep stories going, and you don't have to then, consider the logic of, why aren't these guys all going for the world title? They should all be doing that. They're all wrestlers.
Because they're infighting.
Because they're in the middle of something.
Right. Up next, we had Cameron Grimes versus Braun Breaker. Cameron Grimes has not been seen on television in a singles match since February 9th on SmackDown, and he took a big L to
I thought it was like, I didn't know that guy was still under contract.
He lost to Gunther, which is a shame. This guy's so goddamn good. He lost to a big-ass spear from the fastest man alive, Braun Breaker.
Fastest guy since
that's like his
Road Warrior Animal.
It's one of his gimmicks now. He just runs a rope. Like, that's something he has to do every match, just run the ropes as fast as humanly possible.
It's because it's awesome to see.
Up next, we had Bayley.
I like this was a passionate.
This is a good segment. Yeah. Great. Not her first time being champion, but this one feels special, different. It feels different because it represents the most talented locker room she's ever been a part of, and somehow because of all the fans. And then she's just like, the fans are completely responsible for my success. They've kind of bolstered me up my entire career. So
I agree.
Yeah. Moving on. Tiffany Stratton comes out. And she's dressed in full-on Cher from Clueless, like, ring gear.
I think Tiffany and Bianca Belair make more sense as a tag team than Jade and Bianca Belair. Because the gap between Bianca and Jade is too wide. And I think it's going to, like, shine a light on that. And I think Tiffany would, like, because they're the two best athletes.
What do you do with Jade then?
I mean, they're already doing like they want to do their Jade Cargill thing, AEW Jade Cargill thing, obviously.
Right.
Just do that. Just have her
just keep squashing.
Yeah, feast on some fodder for a while. And I like, you put her next to like the most maybe gifted wrestler in the whole company.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe, I'll give them grace, let it play out. But after we talked about that last week and then I thought about it, I'm like, you can't put her next to that.
Well, unfortunately for this logic, I think she's going to be next to that for a long time.
Yeah, probably.
Which, cool. But in the meantime, Tiffany Stratton is going to be going after the Women's Championship, which I'm fine with. Not quite yet, though, because Tiffany Stratton thought it was rude that she wasn't given an opportunity at WrestleMania. And who's better than the center of the universe to shine at WrestleMania? She's making a lot of sense here.
I mean, she did lose Elimination Chamber, which is why she didn't have a shot at WrestleMania.
Yeah. We don't have time for rational thought.
She's a heel, and she's doing her heel shit.
And prior to her coming out, Bayley was kind of implying that she's going to be issuing some kind of open challenge for her next challenger. And Tiffany said, I think that's the route you're going, and I accept. Because it's Tiffy time, and that gets pop.
Pop me. I love Tiffy time.
And then Bayley says she's not, in fact, offering an open challenge. She's going to challenge Naomi instead. And Tiffany Stratton said she couldn't win. She couldn't even win a title if it glowed in the dark. Not a great line, but it's effort. A for effort.
Took a swing.
And then Naomi comes out, and she looks pissed for I don't know reasons. She just got.
She was just gifted a world title.
Yeah. I was like, why are you mad? It made no sense to me. And
I think I may have dozed off for this or something.
Yeah, you would have been wrong for it. Tiffany Stratton reminds Naomi that she's already beaten Naomi. And Naomi says that was then. This is now. And Naomi says she can't accept Bayley's challenge just yet. Not until she beats Tiffany Stratton. So this is now a number one contenders match. Which
Paul Heyman, I thought wins and losses mattered.
Of course they matter. Also, when you're gifted a world title match, don't just offer up a number one. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Everybody's making interesting decisions here.
It made no sense. It made no sense, especially when you're not the more over of the two.
I just don't think the title holders should have the say in who they defend the title against. No. I think whoever, even if it's a fictional boss, they should make that decision because that's how it works in in the world of fighting.
They have a fictional boss, and they dip in sometimes to make matches, but other times they're like, "Hey, I kind of want to do this."
Yeah,
doesn't make sense. And we saw in 1992, the Mountie was like, "How did he get a title shot? What's his win-loss record?"
Yes, yeah.
That was in 1992.
Yeah, and it was a good point then.
Yeah.
Too.
Goes to commercial. It's clearly going to be Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton, but before we get back. Paul Heyman is seen coming out of the trainer's room. He's checking on Jimmy Uso. Jimmy's in bad shape.
Wasn't doing Uzi.
He was not very Uzi.
It's too bad for Jimmy.
No, it's okay. Give him a vacation, too. Tama Tonga sizes up.
Vacation in NWA.
He sizes up Heyman and says, by orders of the tribal chief. And then Solo appears, shows Paul Heyman his thumb, nice taped thumb. And then Heyman goes, "What the hell does that mean?" Which
I'd be like, thumbs up to you, pal.
Yeah.
Thanks.
He's saying what we're all thinking. What the hell
Big
does
fan.
that mean? Yeah.
It means big fan.
Big fan. Look at my thumb. Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton. Naomi's good. I feel like she just doesn't. She's slower. She moves way slower.
I like her in ring. I think she's not a star.
Yeah,
and I think that's why I think and you're through because that's a more important thing to you than it is to me. But I get it, and I think she just doesn't have it.
But
I do think you're in like the charisma, star power kind of thing. I think it like makes the in ring appear not to be as good too.
For her,
so you and a lot of people like
for her moveset, she's slow. Like she just moves slowly.
I am thinking I have a direct comp that like made sense this
Will
week to think
Ospreay.
about. Come on, we can't even joke about that.
Ospreay, Naomi.
But the guy that Will Ospreay faced in the main event of AEW Dynamite this week,
promo of the decade.
I think similarly. It clouds. I mean, not clouds. It just affects your judgment, and it's not a good or a bad thing.
Yeah,
because he doesn't have a ton of star power. Even the move stuff, you're just like I've had enough of it. I don't care. Right. And I think that Naomi is a similar kind of thing. Like I think technically she is
probably
pretty
part
good,
of it,
but I think that it's her lack of charisma that
technically
carries over.
The charisma no good. I agree with you up and down there. Just what she does move wise, she just goes so slowly and carefully.
That's how all WWE matches look to me.
But when you watch, Tiffany Stratton does not go slowly and carefully. She just doesn't relative to Naomi.
Yeah, maybe okay. I can buy that.
Relative to Naomi, stay in this company. I know you're thinking of Yuka Sakazawa or whatever.
Every other wrestling company on earth.
You can stay in WWE. Look at
Yuka Sakazaki.
Oh, excuse me.
She's awesome.
What did I say?
They're Aladdin pants.
She hit the camera. Their Uncle Howdy's coming back. They blurred the camera like 3, 4, 5 times this show, and that's not on accident.
But that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
I'm glad. I'm happy. Eric Redbeard / Eric Rowan should have been hired by somebody the last 3 years. Yeah. So I'm glad he's getting a job now.
Very excited he's coming back. The finish saw the prettiest moonsault ever dodged. She rolled through it. She didn't miss it. She rolled through it, and then Naomi rolled her up in the most vanilla ending ever. And Naomi won. And Tiffany Stratton suffered not even a little bit from this loss. She is the future of this goddamn division.
I just said I want to team her with Bianca because she's the only person I think can come close to matching her athleticism.
I'm fine with her just laying low for a little while because right now it just seems like everybody's fighting their friends.
Yeah,
like all the champions are like, I want to fight my friends. Package. They did a video package for A-Town Down Under. Street Profits and New Catch Republic are shown watching backstage. And they're hinting that there's going to be a number 1 contenders tag match next week.
I'm enjoying their shtick online. It was a good back and forth with Dax too, but I'm very much liking we're taking time off. Now we're the champs. We're going to take full advantage of it. They're good at being douchebags.
Yeah, they're growing on me, man.
I've liked them this whole time. I just think they can't wrestle.
But as heels, I want to see them lose. And that's traditionally what you want in a heel.
That's what I'm saying. They're great at being douchebags.
Absolutely. This is where they showed the map of the 18 consecutive sellouts that they've had, which was cool. Yeah. Cool little production piece. They flew around the country, Ken Burns style, and they showed you where all the houses were. Did not see this map on Monday Night Raw because it was not they did not make it to 19. They go to Logan Paul. He's doing a selfie promo at his house. I had a thought. Why is Kevin Owens getting a potential world title opportunity when he lost a U.S. title match at WrestleMania?
Because it's WWE.
Fair enough. Moving on.
I enjoyed the Logan Paul Levesque era.
Logan
part of his little promo.
So he'll be gone for a while. I wonder what they're going to do with him. Probably have him fight Ricochet again because he's not doing anything. Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. So they're shown backstage. They got a nice little through thing here where they did it on Monday, this past Monday, where they're showing Chelsea Green talking to Adam Pearce. Like, I want a match. I want to have an opportunity. And then he's like, all right, I got something for you. Go in the ring. And it's fucking Jade Cargill. And Chelsea Green is not happy about this, so she gets squashed. So she goes to SmackDown and does it say, it's like, Adam Pearce she's talking to Nick Aldis. Adam Pearce threw me under the bus last week. We want a match tonight, and Nick Aldis is like, all right, let me think about it, and he gives her Jade Cargill again. It's funny.
I'm glad Piper and Chelsea are back together, though, because that's the worst division in wrestling. So you need bright spots.
Absolutely. And both of them are like...
I like them both quite a bit. Piper's great in the ring, and Chelsea's very good at all the other stuff.
Absolutely. So Jaded on Chelsea Green again. So 2 weeks in a row, same, or 2 shows in a row, same finish for Miss Chelsea Green. They did both of these shows 2 super cool things with cameras. So this is where Kevin Owens is getting interviewed backstage by Byron Saxton, and he acknowledges the cool long shots that they've been doing.
Because Kevin Owens is Deadpool. If people haven't recognized that over the last 5 years, he's the only dude that like knows that he's on WWE programming and is always like, why is there an invisible wall there? Why does somebody always come out when you say their name? Like I love that that's his character.
Yeah.
Like kind of on the down low. He's the best.
More details here. So he takes the camera and he's walking toward presumably the ring, and there's like a random merch table set up in the back for, I guess, the boys. And there's a Detroit Tigers WWE Championship belt, which they're selling. Fanatics is selling. So he puts the title on, and then there's a couple CM Punk shirts on the table, and he just pushes them off the table.
Just pushing.
So again, details.
I can't wait for that. I hope Punk doesn't.
It's going to be chaos.
Internally explode before it happens.
Punk will be fine. Punk's having an awesome time. He's not going anywhere. Just wishful thinking. Put it in the universe. Mm-hmm. Kevin Owens is walking and talking. He has huge respect for Ray, but he's going to kick his and AJ's ass tonight. And then we had the match, and my first note is AJ Styles just eats meat, because that is the biggest goddamn body for such a small frame.
I've been watching him for too long for his body to be this different without it being distracting. Yeah. It's just distracting every time I see him now.
He's Barry
I'm like,
Bonds.
Why are you a big beefy? Like you're stung by a bee thing. With that's
Where's his
very
glasses?
much is like, why did AJ get stung by a bee? What's going on here?
Thomas J. My girl references on the show. Who'd have thought? This match was so fun. It was just so fun.
Yeah.
Because it was 3. This could have main evented any pay-per-view.
Sure.
And the one spot I was mentioning earlier, and there's a bunch of them, but the one that really stuck out, KO did a monkey flip to Rey Mysterio. And and he landed on...
Sorry, Friday was a long time ago.
Oh, no, you're fine. I watched it yesterday. He did a monkey flip. Monkey flipped Rey Mysterio onto AJ Styles, and then did a Hurricane Rana on AJ Styles from the monkey flip. And it looked like they rehearsed it 75 times. Yeah. They look so cool.
Which I don't think you can. That kind of spots. No. I think you just kind of...
You do it once, you're like, we got it? We got it. So Kevin Owens, the finish of the match, Kevin Owens has AJ Styles down on the ground, and he misses a swanton. And then AJ's on the ropes then. He's going to do something. Rey Mysterio goes to do a move on AJ Styles. I clearly took great notes here. And it turns into an avalanche Styles clash splash. So he does a Styles clash onto Kevin Owens, who was on the ground because he missed the swanton. And so AJ Styles won. So we get AJ Styles versus LA Knight again next week, which I don't hate. Keep it going. Don't put LA Knight with anybody else, because I didn't really want the other 2 guys looking weak. That's fine.
Fine with it.
Who do you think's going to be the number 1 contender? Who do you think's going to fight Cody Rhodes in France? They have macarons there.
When's the pay-per-view?
Macaroons.
How far off is it?
Backlash 2024 is Backlash France. That's what the first thing it says. It is May 4th. It is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you in France.
I think
so. We have
not that long.
No.
So it's not going to be somebody that matters.
Or nope. Never mind. It's gonna be. It's not
going to be somebody that like any of us think has a chance of winning the belt. That's what I'm saying.
It's either LA Knight or AJ Styles.
It's gotta be AJ Styles.
Yeah, right? Because he needs a strong heel. They're not going to have a baby face.
They can't do Cody. Like we're already like treading thin ice with Cody. Yeah. Babyface character being the like champ now. Yeah. So you got to be careful with that. You can't do it like him versus a tweener or a babyface guy now. No. And AJ Styles, like he's the company guy. He's been there a long time now.
He's so good. Also, too,
he is awesome.
He did mention
he's got to be on swole though. I can't. It's distracting to me.
No, he just eats meat.
Yeah.
He eats venison. But he did mention Cody again that they're 2 of 4 NWA
because it's like
WWE
in 3 weeks. Then
yeah,
okay,
it's quick.
It's not be like Gunther or something, like
no,
wrong show, I guess. But
they will save him for right show,
but like
IC
something
title.
like that. I just watched the IC title defended on Raw. Oh, was he carried over because it was it's WWE. It doesn't matter.
Oh, that's a good point. No, you're right. You're right. Because I'm only thinking because
yeah.
Oh, that was on Raw. I watched all these shows
Why
back
does
to
the draft
back.
matter again?
How can Ace be 1 and 11? No, I'm wrong there because I'm confusing the shows. Yeah, so I think it's going to be Cody and AJ Styles next week. I'm sorry, in a few weeks in France. I just speak French Canadian.
Be really solid in the ring.
It's going to be great. They got to do something in the meantime.
Yeah.
Raw was in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and
we're on to Raw now. Well, actually, I have real notes. I can contribute a little bit better to the podcast.
Well, did you hear I can't wait to listen back to hear the monotone nature I had of reviewing SmackDown because it was fun, but just like, God damn it.
I really enjoyed SmackDown this week. I liked it better than Raw. Like I said, the high points for Raw were higher.
Yes.
But it's just this show, Raw, got back to some of the worst habits that WWE, even under Triple H, has as far as like pacing and choices. I already like. Also, I'm already rolling my eyes at the then, now, forever together bullshit. I'm like, I get it. Okay, that's just really corny.
Yeah,
and I hope they don't continue down like that path as far as like general overall vibes. Because for the first part of the show, I got those eye roll vibes.
Well, they're going to because apparently this is just a thing in wrestling where people cannot help to be like, this is the greatest time to be a wrestler, or this is the greatest time to be a wrestling fan, or I've worked so hard to get here. Like, I don't recall Bret Hart ever telling me like anything besides like, I'm gonna make you tap out.
Yeah.
Right? Or like Shawn Michaels.
I agree with them all that it is the best time to be a wrestling fan.
Fine.
But that's for us to talk about.
But like,
they should talk about the things that are going on in their simulated sports.
Yes. And like, if you want me to have you be sports adjacent, like you don't hear UFC fighters like talking about, oh, this is the greatest time ever to be a UFC fan.
So like, that's why I'm okay with like one, like a brand ambassador, Cody, Moxley. Those are the ones and the 2 big ones.
Yeah.
Because they have been identified as that, and that exists in sports too, where they'll like have a mouthpiece person that's a player, fighter, or whatever, that talks more about how great the product itself is. But it's just to be one. It should be the guy that the company's paying basically to talk about that.
Oh, you mean the champion that they assign to be the brand, literal brand ambassador?
Yeah, it doesn't, even when Cody's not the champ, though, it's fine. I recognize that he's the brand guy.
Yeah.
So it's fine that he does. But you're right. When everybody's talking about like the outside the wrestling world, that's a fan thing. Like, talk about the thing and it takes you out of it.
Right. I'm never watching a TV show and they're like, hey, isn't it pretty great that we're on this TV
how
show?
Awesome is the show? Our fans must be so happy.
Yeah. So the show, unfortunately, not sold out. Like I said, I think it was under 500 tickets.
Yeah, it was effectively a sellout. I mean, it felt like a sellout watching it.
Yeah. Lava hot crowd in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Sami Zayn's hometown. So at the top of the show, they show people coming out of the parking lot into the building. They specifically show Sami Zayn, Damian Priest, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso.
I will say that dog shit belt looks slightly better on Damian Priest.
Yeah.
Even though I don't care about Damian Priest.
Yeah.
Just the aesthetic fits him a little bit better.
Yeah.
I still hate the belts, but
yeah, it's not great. I can't wait for Cody to not be on every fucking show.
Yeah,
like I saw him and I'm like, why are you here?
Honestly, as long as he's fighting from underneath, I'm happy with him on every show. Just
but it doesn't work. But he's not doing nothing right now. Like
because when he's fighting from underneath, there's a story. He's always got a story.
Yes,
and he's great within stories.
But right now, he's not even fighting
now.
From
He's just the brand ambassador, and that's not fun to watch
because his next challenge is not being determined until the show after this. Yeah. So it's like, what are you doing?
Plus, we know that it's going to be a while before because he's the champ.
Yeah.
If he wasn't the champ, we would know what was coming next.
Right.
Now it's like, okay, well, we know you're not going to have a real challenger probably till a Big Four. And then like when that happens.
Because all he does is bring up The Rock. He doesn't mention like, he probably mentions at some point like, oh, I have a challenge coming in France. It's like, bitch, no, you don't. Like you're fighting The Rock.
As I've said forever, and on this show too, you should have a babyface champ for about 1 out of 12 months.
Yeah. You're not wrong. This was unfortunate. Rhea Ripley walks out with an arm slinged. She's injured. She's injured.
I think it's
ahead.
the best thing that could have happened to her.
You're not wrong.
In the women's division.
You're not wrong. Absolutely not. She looks
as long as I should say, as long as she's okay and
Yeah.
she heals, properly, gets back to 100%, all that
Yeah.
like as a given, then I think it's the best thing that could have happened for them.
I mean, it's only going to do. It's basically going to be the benefit that Kofi had, right? So, like, there's a little bit of a vacuum. We have to fill the vacuum, and you have some people that are kicking ass right now that have nothing to do, and now they have all the room in the world to do what they want to do.
Well, for what they want to do with Rhea too, they were in a tough spot, kind of, because the crowd wants her to be a babyface.
Yeah.
I'm sure the company at this point wants her to be a babyface because merch and all that stuff. But you can't really turn her babyface as the dominant champ. It doesn't work story wise.
As we just said with Cody.
Happen. Yeah. It doesn't. Can't be the dominant thing that she is.
Right.
Now it gives her a reason to fight from underneath. She can come back as a babyface, like we said earlier. You return. You're already a babyface.
Yeah.
She was already going in that direction. Now she has something to fight for. And if she's going to be a good guy, it's like makes more sense. It's way more interesting to watch the good guy have to fight for something.
Yep.
So like now you got out of that of 2 binds that you had. Now you can turn her babyface without worrying about the title, which was a problem.
Yep.
And you also, when she comes back, she can challenge for the title without ever really having lost it, which is another thing WWE really doesn't like ever beating their top people.
Right.
So like without having to beat her, the title's off of her. So now she could fight, come back, be a good guy, and have a heel that she's trying to overtake for the title.
This is all usually reserved for Money in the Bank cash-ins.
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
they were gifted something, albeit like not in the greatest way. She did get injured, but like make the best of a bad situation.
She's
here.
also immediately the odds-on favorite for the Rumble right now. Like that's probably
you
how
think-
they love doing it for
Will she
returning
be-
injured
Will she be
stars.
gone that long? You think?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm only thinking about like injured huge stars that are returning.
Yeah.
Especially if they like lost the belts or whatever, or were in the title picture.
Yeah.
They love doing. I mean, it works because it works. They
would
love
be
doing that for a Rumble.
It would be the 3rd year in a row that she's in the title match at WrestleMania, which they're not. I mean, they're doing
She's
it.
their
way.
biggest star. How many years was Cena? How many years was Hogan? How many years was Roman before even people liked him? Like,
Yeah, that's what I was. I was about to.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't step on your shit.
Oh no, you didn't step. Like no, just the notion that
Yeah,
in the modern era, also like in the Hogan era, like you just said, they're not. This is not rare territory for them.
my only thing that worries me about Cody is that they're looking at him like Hogan, which
No,
is different characters.
No, no.
But Rhea's got a ton of people that I want to see her face too. So like,
Liv.
I'm fine with all of those.
Not only like have they done a good job this week and like last week with Liv Morgan and her, dude, that's been baking for a year.
It has, and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
I love seeing. I hate when people get hurt.
Yeah.
And then they don't use it.
Right.
Like, dude, Stan Hansen's my favorite wrestler of all time. Reason he ever got big in America was because he quote unquote broke Bruno Sammartino's neck with a lariat. He broke Bruno Sammartino's neck by accidentally dropping him when he was trying to powerbomb him, or body slam him. But they worked that, and they said, "Oh no, his crazy lariats broke Bruno's neck."
Yeah.
And then Stan Hansen was immediately the biggest heel in the world, or in America. Like you always do that. Always say it was. If it wasn't a thing, say it was a thing.
Yeah.
And I love that they're using it. Plus, they're using it for like Liv as a heel now, which is interesting. And then also like because she's been building steam. We've been talking about it. Like she's been one of the good things consistently. Use it for that. Sweet.
Absolutely. Yeah. All gravy here. So she said, she being Rhea said, Liv's attack has put her, Rhea, on the shelf for months. She has to vacate the Women's World Championship. Loud bullshit chant, and Rhea goes, "Yeah, it is." Thank you, mommy chants, which that was kind of.
Here's one of my I'm gonna nitpick I normally wouldn't for WWE, but I'm gonna hear.
Yeah.
When she first comes out, she just says, "Oh, you guys all know what's going on." Well, I hadn't been on the internet that day or whatever. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Nobody
I have this
you gotta say it right. You have to state it clearly.
Yeah.
Like we talked about.
It was on Rampage.
Yeah.
So WWE, by the way, airs secondary stories on Rampage. It is running for 74 years straight now.
I just like at this point, if I didn't do something and like that I was supposed to do it, and my wife is like, "Why didn't you do that?" I'm like, "I did. It was on Rampage."
It's so long. I don't get it. But somehow it works because I actually watched it. But we'll talk about it on the AEW episode. If you have not listened to the AEW episode yet, it is dropping at the same time as this one. If you already listened to it, I hope you had a nice time. So we're back in WWE, and thank you, Mommy Chance. And they're talking about the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. I just wrote down this is one of the most solid goddamn angry promos I think I've ever seen anybody cut, because she's just saying shit that you would say when you're mad.
That's why I thought it was so great.
Yeah,
because she was doing the scripted shit and she stumbled.
Yeah.
And then I think it clicked with her that was like, if I try to do this stuff verbatim, the stumbles sound way worse, because she like saved herself on that stumble.
Yeah.
And then she just talked like a person for the rest of the promo. I was like, hey, that's the kind of promo I like.
And it felt organic, probably to your point, because it was.
Yeah.
And again, they have this giant storyline to go off of, and like both have made solid points. Liv comes out at this point. She's being held back by 6 security guards, which I thought was adorable.
Yeah, she's about 97 pounds.
Rhea hops out of the ring. 3 of the security guards go to her. So they got 3 on each. And then Rhea just headbutts a security guard. And then I thought, is there any other sector in any other workforce where it's okay to attack a security? Can you do that at the Amazon warehouse? Can you just start attacking the security guards and none of them are just like handcuffs right now? Because the other security guards,
no, they're like promotion, like a title shot. Like you get moved up. Security guards.
I just didn't it struck me as odd that we could just do that, and the other guys just stood there. Even Adam Pearce was just like, all right, let's calm down now.
I accept it, partially because one of the coolest spots on my favorite show was very much a security guard spot.
Yeah.
So that is a kind of a silly trope that they do in pro wrestling. You just beat the shit out of these, like,
and then nothing happens.
Like third-party workers.
Sometimes they'll find them, but I guess whatever fits the story.
Yeah,
it's wrestling. So they go backstage with Rhea, and she's being consoled by the Judgment Day. And Damian Priest says, "When you come back, you're gonna make Liv regret ever messing with you, and you're gonna be more badass than you are right now because you're Rhea Bloody Ripley." And we love you, which I liked.
Something happened between the backstage and the in-ring.
Did I skip something?
No, it's something that I'm going to bitch about because it's the thing that aggravated the shit out of me about this episode.
Go, sir.
They went back to, they hadn't done this for the last 2 weeks, maybe 3. That segment, commercial break, replay of segment we just watched bullshit. Rhea did her promo. They went to commercial, came back and showed me Rhea's promo again.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? Like,
in case you forgot.
Does anyone watch this live? Like, can a person sit through Raw live when they do this shit? Like, I'm like, what? I thought my TV was messed up, or that I was hallucinating. I'm like, I thought I just watched this promo. Yeah. Oh no, I did. They just showed it to you twice, bookending a commercial break.
Just in case you were going to make, chimichangas or whatever, and you came back and you missed this, they wanted you to know why Rhea Ripley was hugging her boys backstage.
What the DVR is for?
Like, you don't DVR. Your fingers are greasy from chimichangas. A lot of grease on those. It's more of a crunchy.
I thought they were past this. It was the thing that got to me about it, because I'm like, Christ, that's that shit again.
Of course they're not. That's why you go and you get deep fried Mexican treats. Chimichangas so good. I'm starving.
Chimichangas are good. Yeah. Speaking of Deadpool.
Yeah, but it's a good. There we go. So Damian Priest just says very nice things to her, and Rhea Ripley says, "Make sure you keep Judgment Day on top." Then she walks up into the darkness. This is a babyface group. Their faces, I don't care. We all like them.
I really like Rhea. Like, I think that without her, the Judgment Day is the final testament.
Oh, you're not wrong. No, you're absolutely not wrong.
Even their stupid names are the same.
Yeah. But now, JD McDonough, we know, is like the goofy, he's always gonna get in trouble kind of guy. Balor actually has a little bit of credibility.
Yeah.
Dom, we love to boo. Damian is.
Dom can't be a babyface though.
No, but we like seeing him. He is.
I like multiple members of this group on their own, much like another group I'm going to talk about on our other show.
Yeah.
On their own, I like them all individually.
Right.
They're dog shit as a group without Rhea.
No, you're not wrong.
It's just
and her by herself is she's bulletproof in anything she does. Yeah. I see what you're saying. But I just don't think this is to your point, this is the Final Testament without.
And we don't need 2 Final Testaments.
No. But they're warming the crowd. They're like, wow, look, we care about each other kind of thing. That gets some mileage on it. They're going to abandon it fucking completely next week. But
I would Dom can be a heel even in another faction or whatever. And I agree. The other 2 are baby, or other 3 are baby faces.
Yeah. This was a nice moment.
Yeah.
It was
absolutely,
nice
absolutely. Yeah. Again, I'm projecting out like, oh, the Judgment Day doesn't have a future, like,
because they don't. Yeah. Like it's like we're gonna be force fed Damian Priest for a long time, and he's good, but
he's fine. He is exactly fine.
Did you know he's Puerto Rican?
I knew that he was Latino in some
I didn't
way
know
because
that
he called himself Senor Money in the Bank.
He puts his flag on every piece of
does he?
It's like, ugh, I get it, dude.
Yeah, you know what? I did, because when they were in Puerto Rico, he got that insane pop, which he never gets anywhere else.
Which is, I dropped my mug. Which is good if you're from that town. Yeah, be strong. And then speaking of nationalities being shoved down my throat, Fat Sheamus came back. And he fought Fatter Ivar.
I hope Sheamus didn't just hit the wall, because he looked. I'm not even going to talk about his body, because so many people did. I saw a lot of stuff on the internet, and then Sheamus actually gave a pretty reasonable response. He was like, "I was supposed to come back at the draft, and I came back like weeks earlier than I expected to, so sense. I wasn't able to get like my ready for Showtime pump on." But his in-ring looked like shit, too.
He was also wearing the official WWE Underoos.
Yeah. I was happy to hear that it's a shameful thing Lobster had was back. I haven't heard that in a long time. It popped me. But he looked terrible.
Like, he looked terrible.
Not talking about physically, whatever.
No, his work wasn't good.
His work was garbage. And he's a great worker. Always has been. He's at that age where he may have hit the wall. He might be done now.
I think also one goes with the other. I think he's not physically up to par.
Yeah.
Like if you watch his Celtic Warrior workout channel on YouTube, the dude works his ass
absolutely
off.
Well, that's what makes me worry about him, because
I just don't think
he can be in ring shape and not also ring shape and like the physical outward look are different things.
But he's also always been just jacked.
He has.
And he leaned up real hard the past couple of years.
And the other thing that makes me worry that it might just be his body can't do what he does anymore. I hadn't thought about this really before this match, but like he was allowed to. Most people are not allowed to in WWE work like the stiffest possible style for what's been 15 years or something.
Right.
He's been doing that. Like it's been essentially working in AEW style, like big man thing.
Yeah.
For the last 15 years. And he's like, what, close to 50 now? It's possible his body's not going to do it now.
Maybe.
I hope not, because I love Sheamus.
We'll see.
But this was really
uncomfortable.
Bad. Like it was really bad.
If he looks great around draft time, which is next week,
I don't be shredded either. Just move like you moved.
But again, I think one goes with the other. Because when you're more shredded, you weigh less, and you just don't have your body doesn't have to work as hard, and they go one with the other.
But like as an older gentleman these days, like I can tell you. They don't always he can stay fat and be good still. Like that could be, but his cardio could just get better. And as you get older, it's just sometimes without a little assistance, you can't really get that shredded look anymore, no matter what kind of wind you actually have.
Right.
So it's possible that his body's just going to be that, and then the in ring will return.
I think he's going. If he said, I was supposed to come back at the draft, and that
was a reasonable answer. As far as the look goes.
Right, but now let's give him a month and see what he does.
It's not a reasonable answer for why this in-ring looked like that. He should still be in reasonable ring shape.
Maybe.
Because you can't get in ring shape in like a couple of weeks.
I don't know. Sheamus can. We'll see. Cautiously optimistic. Like if he said I wasn't supposed to be back yet, then maybe he wasn't supposed to be back yet.
Yeah,
and
that's why I'm giving him that.
We got to give him a grace period.
Yeah.
I know you're holding him to the coals because I
also love Sheamus.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be bad, and this was really like you said, uncomfortable to watch bad.
Just very doughy Sheamus. It was weird because he's never been doughy in his entire career.
Yeah,
he's always been just.
That's the thing. Sometimes you get to a certain age, and that just happens.
I just think he hasn't had the time to recover.
And it's reasonable.
Or you turn into AJ Styles, and your body goes into Benjamin Button mode.
Yeah, if you want to do that. Then
they do a Sami Zayn, Chad Gable hype video. promoting the main event, which is going to be Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship, which was mentioned last week in Sami Zayn's hometown of Montreal.
Oh yeah, I forgot to
Montreal.
because the worst one hasn't happened yet on the show, but they McAfee and multiple superstars try to pronounce Montreal like you would as a French Canadian, but they only half-ass it, so it comes out like the Miz's was the worst because it sounded like somewhere in the Middle East. Montreal, like Montreal sounds like somewhere you would go. Like to gamble with sheiks. Like it is not. If you're gonna do the French and not say the T, you gotta say Montreal.
Right.
The only person that even tried was Michael Cole, and then he got bitched at for he pronounced Patrick Roy like you do with a little bit of an R, but it's like on the back of your whatever. Just don't do it. Just call it Montreal. You sound like an asshole if you do it halfway and you say Montreal, which everybody kept saying, and it made me want to mute my TV.
Also, what's wrong with Montreal?
Exactly.
Like
nothing.
No.
If you want to, but if you want to be
mad?
fancy and say it like they do there, then go the whole way.
Yeah.
And do the accents. Don't just not say the T because you sound like an asshole.
I just don't get the a lot of people are speaking French on this show.
I think personally, because I've done it before on this podcast, saying Montreal is very fun. It's a fun city name to say with a French accent.
Yeah.
But you gotta fucking have the balls to do it with the accent and not be like, oh, half-ass it so I can say,
Right.
oh, I don't know anyway. No, do it. Have the balls. Do it.
Yeah.
Try to do the real French accent, or just say it regular because you're too scared to do the joke.
Or just say Montreal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't do
Yeah.
the accent then. Just say it like you would normally as an American with no French accent.
Like all of them.
Everybody on the
Everyone on the
goddamn
roster.
show, and not one of them pronounced it like the right way.
Not even the guy from
They just
the place
didn't
has
say the T.
Yeah. Yeah, this is silly.
Well, Sammy kind of says Montreal. He does his accent
speaks-
almost sounds
he
like a
speaks
Torontoan.
French. He
Yeah,
speaks French.
but his like regular Canadian accent almost sounds Toronto-in because
Yeah.
he does like a Montreal thing, which is
Yeah.
more a Toronto-y.
Oh, is that
thing.
right?
Yeah, it's like Toronto. They always I'll say Toronto.
You got to say it like molasses is falling out of your mouth.
like Owens has got a very clearly French Canadian. Quebecois
Yeah.
type of accent.
Right.
Is the French comes through. Sammy sounds like a Toronto. Is it Torontoan? Torontoan?
Toronto.
Like all of Canada except for the coasts in French Canada. That's what Sammy sounds like.
That's what Luke Skywalker cut open to stay warm. A Toronto. Toronto.
I think he was a Montreal.
That's raw. Star Wars humor. One thing I did really like about the Sami Zayn Chad Gable hype video, zero mention of Chad Gable's daughter, which was heavily part of the reason he wanted to fight Gunther. Way to abandon the logical thing to abandon.
I have no notes about the Intercontinental picture in the WWE. I think it might be the best booked thing in wrestling right now.
Yeah. It's
This was great.
and the match was great too.
Everything, not the spoiler, everything about Sammy and Gable on this show was great.
Yeah. Oh, zero complaints. It's just, except for, no, that's not even a complaint because they didn't do it. But that's more me ragging on what they were doing with him pre-WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, like it's the opposite of a complaint. You're
Yeah.
commending them for understanding
Yeah.
they needed to pivot from that stupid story, and they did.
Stupid. The next segment was kind of fun because it had the most over guy in the goddamn company on it. It was Triple H and Adam Pearce, and they were clearly just out there to introduce the new Raw Tag Team Championship belts, now called the World Tag Team Champions.
They could have done this without the Triple H circle jerk first. I'm getting it's along with the then, now, forever together,
And that's all
Paul
the
Levesque era.
Greatest time to be a
get it.
wrestling fan.
Back off. Yeah, I don't need the circle jerk for the boss.
No, we got it. You're great. Just keep being great, and you won't have to say shit. We'll say it for you.
Exactly.
It's like all he said is "We are NXT," and we're all like, "Yeah, we're a stadium full of people. We fucking love this."
Yeah, and I like him in the segment because it made sense.
Yeah.
Like it set up a couple of jokes too
Yes.
that were very good.
Man.
But he did lean into the bask in my glory, coming out to like the essentially to open the show. The first positive thing on the show is Triple H. How wonderful am I?
We get it, dude. Just keep doing the work. So they bring out Truth and Miz, and the crowd's chanting, "You deserve." Before they even say anything, the crowd's going fucking nuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
For Well, it's for R-Truth, and the Miz is smiling, and I'm
I
like,
was gonna say, did you catch like for the 5 seconds that the Miz thought it was for him,
Yeah.
and then it dawned on him, and he's like, pivot. Which Miz is good at this
None
stuff,
of
so
this
he
is for
pivoted,
you.
but he definitely thought it was for him, like really at first.
Real
And,
big
like,
smile.
the broadest, like
Yeah.
most genuine smile I've ever seen him, and he was like, oh shit, no,
Nah,
never mind.
dude. And then R-Truth like has him hold his microphone and belt, and then he just does like a jumping splits, and the place
Yeah,
goes nuts. Truth thinks that so they reveal the new tag team belts. You do not like the belts.
I think they are dog shit.
Well, you don't like the other. I mean, that's the design for all the belts on the show. So
I think. Well, I like Cody's though.
no, that's not that show.
Oh yeah, the show. That's
Like,
the reason I don't like these.
Yeah.
Because it's the penny belt. They glued they made a bigger circle version
Yeah.
of the world title, which is a dog shit belt.
Yep.
And they glued it on the front of the penny belt.
Right.
And it looks it's just I have to see that ugly belt now with a bigger, rounder
Yeah.
face.
It's different.
Ugh.
It's different.
It's garbage.
It's there. It's there. Like what we said, bring back the title belts that Demolition held.
Yeah.
And we'll be happy. I'm surprised Cody didn't do that.
Like an old, like a winged eagle or something,
yeah.
like an old school.
Granted,
That's very much him.
The one he's holding is beautiful.
It's cool. It's my favorite of the big giant gaudy logo belts that they've done.
Yeah.
Like is the current Cody one.
Absolutely.
But that would have been a Cody
It would have been on brand.
fitting thing,
Yeah.
and it would have worked too. Like
I was
to
so
do a
very
winged
surprised
eagle
he
or a
did
big eagle
the
or
day after Mania.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to do it. So they revealed the new belts. And R-Truth thinks that the belts appearing was legit magic.
Yeah, he thinks
and he's
Triple H is just
blown
like
away.
a wizard from somewhere or a trickster. Like,
And then the Miz goes, he's not a magician. And Truth goes, that's exactly what a magician would say. He had so many great lines in this. He's cracking me up legitimately. Truth asks, and then Truth like goes, he gets in Triple H's face and he basically says like, what else are you hiding from us? Like, that what other magic can you perform? And then he thinks that Triple H is Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, it was because he's like, what else are you hiding from us? And Miz is like, all right, well, let me talk to him. And he's like, no, I want to know what else he is hiding. If he's lying to us about this, what else are you lying to us about, Tommaso Ciampa?
And then the Miz explains to Truth in French that those are the new titles, and only when he says it in French does R-Truth understand.
Yes.
Which was
fantastic.
That's just great writing. That's
It was
just great.
all the R-Truth stuff was wonderful.
Yeah. Triple H then just like, can I just go? And then he just takes the old titles off of their shoulders and he puts the new titles on, and then he just leaves. And since there's new champs, there has to be a new challenger. So there's Adam Pearce announces a triple threat #1 contender match. It starts right now. First group out is DIY, and as DIY comes out, you hear Triple H or Truth kind of say in the mic, "There's Triple H right there."
Yeah, and then the crowd chanted Triple H at Tommaso Ciampa.
This guy's comic timing is otherworldly.
Awesome. I've been hearing for years how funny he is backstage. And I'm like, why don't you put that on camera? And
Well,
finally they're like, all right, we'll give him a chance.
That's
and
why
he's running with it.
He did the thing with Brock because Brock loved him. So it's DIY.
Even like Truth's like smoking mechanic guy back in the day. I've always enjoyed.
Yeah,
Truth.
he's never not been entertaining. You ever see that photo of him and Tupac?
No, but
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. We'll find that.
Did you see him rapping his live stream rapping his old theme?
No.
At 3 a.m. like 2 days ago.
No.
I didn't see it at 3 a.m., but somebody like on Reddit or Twitter or something posted. So I was
up.
watching a live stream at 3 a.m. and R-Truth was happened to be up rapping his old theme. Like it's funny. He's an amusing man.
Everything he does is like
This segment, I bitched about Triple H already, but also even within, you don't have to like be the cool guy.
Yeah.
React. If you're going to be the boss and R-Truth is doing all this zany stuff,
Yeah.
do a Triple H just stood there kind of grinning like, oh, these fucking idiots.
Yeah.
I'm the boss, but they're like children.
Yeah.
You don't. He was that when he was a wrestler.
Yeah.
And that as a boss too. If you're going to be on camera on a pro wrestling show, you got to show your ass sometimes.
Yeah.
Triple H.
Yeah.
Show your ass sometimes,
Right.
or get the fuck off of TV.
Right. Yeah, especially when you're standing next to that.
Yeah,
Where you're never
the funniest thing on the show.
gonna upstage you
by
every
far. React to it,
Right.
Like do a thing. It's a wrestling show. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be fun.
Yes, and he is the most fun thing on this entire show. So like, show your ass,
Yeah.
Triple H. It was DIY versus the Creed Brothers versus the New Day. Winner of this match is the #1 contenders for World Tag Team. That's what they're calling them, right? I just said the World Tag Team Champions. That's right.
Yeah, it's not confusing at all.
No. You continue to prove me right the more I talk. My notes were super fun match, and the creeds are fucking great.
Yeah, this was a great. One of on this show two like legitimately. I don't care what promotion they're in, great matches.
Yeah, this was so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
I didn't care who won. I'm like, I want to see any of these guys win. I loved it.
Yeah, no, I like all the teams. One of them even more now after this show ends. But they're all great workers. But it seemed like the handcuffs were off too. They were just allowed. There was drop on your head neck shit. Kind of thing. Japanese AEW dangerous stuff in this and in the main event. This show, which I of course loved.
Yeah.
I hope they're not doing that at house shows and shit. But
no, well,
it was great here.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, but this was the most indie WWE match that it could have been. It was awesome. It was super
absolutely.
fun. And then DIY won. So they are going to challenge R-Truth and The Miz for the World Tag Team Championship.
Do they always finish with the EVP trigger?
Did they do that?
That it was very. They called it the meeting in the middle.
Oh,
I think one was a kick and one was a knee, but it looked very much like the EVP trigger.
They just don't hold the hand. They used to. Yeah, they've
done that forever.
They go to the.
It might have been just this one specifically. I was like, hey, why are they doing the EVP trigger?
Yeah, because they would go to the opposite ends of the ring. And
maybe
do
the super kick is a little more
prayer
defined
hands
otherwise.
or whatever. They're just not holding. They don't have the torque of the EVP trigger.
Yeah, no, I think maybe it was just this one or where the camera was or whatever. It just was like, what is that?
They're going to come out in bellhop uniforms next week.
They're already cosplaying as Degeneration X.
Yeah.
Regeneration X.
Regeneration X. Next, they recap last week where CM Punk cost Drew McIntyre the match, which cost him #1 contention.
Was there a reason they weren't on TV?
Who?
Punk and McIntyre?
McIntyre was briefly on TV a moment later, but Punk...
I mean, their thing. I was like, did they have visa issues with Canada?
Oh, like why didn't they have a segment where they were doing promos or anything?
Like they're a big deal. Like I said last week, I want them to be the focus of Raw now, and then we didn't really get any of that this week.
This is all we got right here.
Yeah,
and that's it. Oh, Punk was at home.
There isn't a reason. There's not like a because I thought Punk he seems healthy enough to be on TV. It seems like he wants to be on TV.
Yeah,
put him on TV.
I think they were in Montreal. I think this was the Sammy show.
Okay.
And they were kind of just, building the whole show around that and setting up stuff. Because they set up a bunch of shit, like, for moving forward. Yeah. So this was like
the meat of this show, I liked.
Yeah.
The way it was put together, I didn't.
But the Drew and Punk thing didn't need any more gas. It's already the hottest thing that they got going.
But I want to be entertained.
You and me both,
so,
brother.
put the entertaining people on TV.
Yes.
I didn't need 2 women's tag matches.
Right. You're not wrong. I'm right there with you. Dude, I told you.
My standards are raised for this company now.
Put Punk in every segment.
I want to be. I expect to be entertained the entire fucking time I'm watching a television show.
Yes.
When AEW does something dog shit, I'm like, why? Even if it was one little thing.
Yeah.
Why? You should be entertaining at all times.
Right.
This show is not. And they know how to be.
Yeah.
And they have the tools to be.
Yeah.
They can absolutely be entertaining the entire time.
Sometimes they got to do what The Walking Dead does, is where they start hot. And then most of the episode is a lot of talking and
that's fine too. But
and exposition,
funny talking or interesting talking or
and then at the
intriguing
end,
talking.
And then at the end they go, "Bam!
Yeah,
I see title match."
Like that, yeah, totally fine.
Bam!
Do that.
Yeah,
but there just should never be a time. If I'm ever bored watching a wrestling show,
I want to see how loud it was.
If I'm ever bored watching a wrestling show, the booker's failing in some way,
right?
Because wrestling is super fun. Even if you're like whatever your tastes are, like the other shit is enjoyable too. Like
you're preaching to the choir.
Just do something interesting.
Well, look
or
at
fun.
Look at all the things we've praised so far. Awesome Intercontinental title match. Yeah. Awesome triple threat tag team match. Chelsea Green, R-Truth.
If you move some stuff around, don't do the commercial break
like annoying
nonsense,
Cody,
replay stuff.
Really cool live shit. Like that's a show.
Get rid of a couple. Yeah, it's a 2-hour show. It's a problem.
A 2-hour show.
3 hours long.
But they also have as we talked about on SmackDown, like Cameron Grimes got no entrance. Why? Yeah. He was one of the biggest things in NXT.
Yeah.
Develop some of these goddamn characters.
Do something super fun with that.
Right.
And I would liked to see what's his face again from last week, the Russian I love, the guy that had the 5-star with Gunther.
Oh,
Ilya Dragunov. Like, where was he?
Yeah, why wasn't
he's just watching him come out is super interesting. Doing his orchestral thing. That's super fun. That guy is like very interesting to have on TV.
I think the best of sevens are so underutilized because they work 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Every best of seven has led to stars in these companies,
Yeah.
and every company that's ever done it.
I love them.
Yeah. WCW, WWE, AEW.
Yeah.
They all crush best of sevens.
Yes.
Just do best of sevens. But yeah, unfortunately, the only reaction we got after watching the footage from last week where CM Punk cost Drew McIntyre's opportunity is backstage. Drew starts laughing and then he kicks something and he leaves. So that's it. That's all we got of Drew McIntyre this week.
I wonder if that was even filmed in Canada.
Yeah, probably not.
Because like, why travel internationally if you're not going to do anything beyond?
Because he wanted some
backstage?
he wanted some poutine.
Maybe he had visa issues.
No,
Maybe there's a Scotland to Canadian issue.
Yeah.
Like,
he wanted some ketchup chips. Can't get those in the States.
Or ketchup.
They're delicious.
Oh, I've had
potato chips.
I've had them like in Asia. Yeah,
yeah.
Yes.
Not in the U.S. because we can't have ketchup chips.
We have dog shit Pringles compared to the rest of the world. The rest of the world has so many awesome Pringle flavors, and we have like 6 here.
What?
How
often are you eating Pringles internationally?
I've had Pringles in Italy and in the Philippines.
What is your
both places, the very different places, have like 200
best Pringles flavor you ever
Pringles.
had? First one that comes to mind.
I can't think of what it's called.
I'm putting it on the spot.
Paprika.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
And that's an international Pringle.
Yeah.
My God.
That sounds like a award.
It's
international Pringle
it's a spice,
goes to.
which
It's like a Bruno Mars award.
It's like barbecue flavor, but paprika is the actual name of the spice. We don't do that here because we are like Americans are idiots. They won't know what paprika is.
Yeah.
So we have to call it barbecue.
Yeah.
But that particular barbecue one called paprika is awesome.
So you're wondering why Drew McIntyre went to Montreal? It's to get
better Pringles.
You get better Pringles.
All right.
That's right.
I'll take it.
Damian Priest. This is not necessary. We got a Damian Priest like origin story hype package. Like,
yeah.
I said, well done, but why? He's the champ. But what are we building him for? We get it. He's already up there.
They got to do something interesting with him. This was not.
This was not it.
But like, I get the idea of like trying to do. You got to do something because he's been just Senior Money in the Bank for forever, and he was just like a dick to R-Truth, which just got R-Truth over super good. But
put him in the ring. Show us that he's an actual threat as a champion. Have him just beat.
Oh, I mean, my answer is always wrestle a match.
Yes,
but I don't want to have the same expectation because that's not what the audience of this show necessarily wants. So I get it if you want to do different stuff to make somebody interesting.
He's the champion.
But I think he is pretty good in the ring,
right.
And I don't think he's very good at anything else.
But put him in the ring because he's not been presented as good in the ring since he's lost the United States Championship eons ago.
I agree with all of it. But my answer is always put him in the ring.
And he's the champion of the show. Yeah. People like seeing the champion on the show. Like this writes itself. We did not need to hire time to make this. It was a terrific segment. Their production team's amazing.
Yeah,
and I felt feels, but like again, he's world champ.
I forgot to mention.
Yeah,
Sheamus's new move is stupid named.
What?
The kneecap.
It's just called the kneecap.
It's a knee. He gets you with a knee in the face and he likes to call that the kneecap. Yeah. I'm like, it's just the name of the body part he's hitting you with.
Yeah.
It's lame. Sorry, I had to get
the reason
I noticed I glommed over that on my notes.
The reason I didn't notice it is because I was using the thumb to push the buttons because I was bored with the match.
Nice. That's his new setup, though.
Yeah. We have Gable training in the ring before Raw. He's in there with the Creed brothers.
Like that. Just him in there with the Creeds. I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Also, amateur wrestlers that can go.
I do have a big complaint about this, though.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
You could probably guess what part of the behind the scenes stuff it was. So entrance music, Andrade comes out.
Okay.
Commercial. Back from commercial. Do the whole this segment, the Gable thing. So it's like a whole ass interview.
Yeah.
And then back to Andrade in the ring. Disjointed as hell. What is that? Like, I already don't like the AEW did this too this week. I don't like the entrance commercial break, like after the entrance thing. That always feels jobbery to me. But to throw in a whole segment like in between that, then too, it makes it just feel weird and disjointed.
By the way, Andrade has a 5-star match in WWE, and this is how he gets treated. NXT technically, but
they're like giving him the full ass jobber treatment as far as entrances matter in this company.
Yes,
and like he gets either none or shit like this, where it's like entrance, immediate commercial break, then a whole other story, like the most interesting story on the show.
He's got a cool
jammed into
too.
your thing. Yeah, he does.
like give him the entrance. It's like when they were neutering Nakamura's entrance. I'm like, no, his entire character
the whole point.
Is his entrance.
Yeah, he Nakamura can't do the as hard hitting as he gets older too. Like he can bring it out sometimes, but he can't always do it.
Right.
So yeah, do the interesting thing. But like Andrade, it feels like they're actively trying to like fuck him. It's just that made me angry when they did that. Like
this might make you angry too. I didn't even know Andrade wrestled because how I was watching on there was no Andrade match.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of people that are like that.
No, I didn't see him.
Oh, they just cut it from the show.
I had Damian Priest's origin story, Chad Gable training in the ring, and then a Men's Warehouse presents Bloodline segment recap, and then backstage with Kathy Kelly and Jey Uso, and then backstage with Kathy Kelly and Liv.
You didn't see Andrade versus Dominic Mysterio on the show. Holy shit!
Wow,
that's weird. Did we just discover that they did they cut whole segments?
I'm gonna go home and double check because it's very possible.
It wasn't a great match, but it wasn't awful. But
I have heard that they cut I
have several notes on the match, so unless I hallucinated enough to have like 8 notes,
all you, sir, all you.
I just did. Andrade gets the semi-jobber treatment again, and then my next note was like, oh, never mind, even worse. Commercial, whole ass interview with Chad Gable, and then the match. I love I did mention that I love the Gable stuff because I had to do that in the middle of this match because that's where the thing happened as I was watching it. And then, oh shit, another commercial. So it was a long enough match that they did a second commercial break mid-match too. And then his new finisher, the one that we said was not as good as his other finisher.
The Message.
Was not, the Message.
The Message.
It looked a little better this week. Maybe because Dom is smaller or whatever, he could flip him around better. He should just use that elbow that he uses as a setup. And then... This makes more sense then. You said Ricochet and everything going on, and yeah, he does. He's apparently teaming up with Andrade as the people that like WWE wants to put together because they have no idea how to utilize. Andrade got attacked after Judgment Day after, and then Ricochet comes down to help him, which I don't know if they've ever had them interact before, but they were like buddy here, like they were gonna form a thing. But maybe if they cut the whole segment, maybe they're
I'm literally pulling up Raw as we speak because I can't imagine I missed, because that sounds like at least a 10-minute segment.
It was a long enough match to have a commercial break within the match.
So that was after this, after this, after this, after this.
Make sure I got this.
Creed Brothers. Yeah, that's not. There's nothing.
Yeah, that is crazy. And I believe you.
No.
Is it Hulu or?
Yeah.
So I watched the DVR of it, of the original broadcast.
I've heard other podcasts that don't talk about pro wrestling say that they will cut stuff. He's like, oh, I didn't see that because I watched it on this. I've never been privy to that.
I've heard of that on regular TV shows. Sometimes they'll cut the like cold open, or they'll cut the end to get more commercials in or whatever, or to shorten it for Hulu.
So there's Gable.
Yeah, that was after Andrade got his entrance, and then a commercial break.
And then it goes to...
Maybe somebody at Hulu just understands how to put a TV show together.
It goes to the recap of but it sounds like there were 3 guys I would have liked to watch in the ring.
It was not a bad match.
Yeah,
it was like Dom, but like it was Andrade doing his Andrade stuff.
I also DVR Raw, so I'm gonna see if
as we're talking, I'm clicking around trying to pull it up.
I'm gonna see if my DVR does that work like that.
DVR just is exact because it's just a recording of the original broadcast. I can probably find the original
broadcast. No, I believe you. That's just wild that happened entirely.
I mean, if you DVR it, it is always as it went to air.
Okay. A little further.
I'm looking for
a little further.
Who knows if it's even in the same order? Because I actually had this, I think, a little later in my notes too.
Yeah, that's it.
There's Dom and
there's Andrade. Holy shit.
I didn't hallucinate it. It happened.
Go back a
whole
little.
ass match.
I want to see the top of this. So what we're watching right now on the screen is the match that I did not even know. Did you get a Men's Warehouse?
You were looking at me a little funny when I was bitching about Andrade getting the entrance, and I was like, "Why?" I figured you would be pissed off about that too.
Also,
did you see this?
I did not.
So you didn't have two women's matches. So you probably don't understand why this show was fucking garbage paste for me. No. Two women's tag matches.
Am I looking at the right episode? Yeah.
I mean, all your other stuff is stuff that I saw. So they must just cut.
So Hulu has determined that I should not be watching, but I'm looking.
I mean, nobody should be watching a women's tag match that has Maxine Dupree in it.
But let me decide.
But yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
That's wild that they cut.
Negative points for Hulu. Why you cut?
I'm trying to get to the entrance commercial break.
I just want to see
because it's so crazy.
What do you have? YouTube?
This is YouTube TV. Yeah.
Is it worth it?
It's cheaper than cable, and I think it's better.
I'm probably gonna have to make a switch soon because my entertainment will be decided by who I want to be entertained by.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoy.
Why would they?
They're not a sponsor. Although if anybody has any connections, let them know about the podcast.
Can you next week? Hey guys, in a wild turn of events, we're sponsored by YouTube.
We're on the Joe Rogan network now.
All right, we're live. Beautiful.
That was Andrade's entrance.
All right, you got
commercial
talk about
break.
Two things, now.
And we come back from commercial break.
Well, tell me about the Maxine Dupree match now.
I have notes. Don't worry. Back from commercial break. Whole ass interview. Entire Chad Gable question and answer interview. Their interview is dog shit too, by the way.
I saw that.
Interview is so awesome. I liked this, but I'm like, why? I have to not like it because it's cut into the middle of a match,
right?
Or at least after the entrance of a match.
You're not wrong.
So yeah, if they cut all that stuff for your viewing, I probably would have been like, oh yeah, this show flowed pretty okay.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, oh my Christ, why is this taking forever? And also because they kind of shit on Andrade. Like, look how long this is. I'm forward, and still Andrade's in the ring. Yeah. They must have played his theme song 5 times.
Wait till Charlotte comes back and she starts cracking the whip, and he's like world title contender.
I think you're right, though. I think he's too violent a performer for this program.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was a thing.
Should I go over the?
I didn't even know what happened.
Women's tag because it was a big note of mine. Was like, okay, I'm happy that Piper Niven and Chelsea are together and in that division.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was the second women's tag match for me, though. So, my note was, are you kidding? We have 2 women's tag. It's the worst division in wrestling. Yeah. 2 women's tag matches on this show. Because the first one I had watched, which apparently got cut out from Hulu by WWE or maybe whoever owns Hulu, Fox, Disney. Who owns Hulu? It's ESPN, right? That's the same. It's Warner? I don't know. So the first women's tag match was Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell versus Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree.
Still going with this, okay.
Which was super terrible. Maxine Dupree, you're going to do a women's tag match, 2 women's tag matches, and one of them is going to have Maxine Dupree in it too? Oh my God. Also had a super clunky, weird finish where Indy Hartwell pretended like she was going to come in the ring, so the ref came over to stop her. But then a tag was made, and the ref didn't hear it or see it, even though it was just Indy barely trying to come into the ring. Okay. So there's no reason the ref should have missed this tag. So, but he got super aggressive about keeping Maxine Dupree's partner. Who did I just say it was?
Ivy Nile.
Ivy Nile out, and then. While he's super aggressively doing that, Indy Hartwell slowly gets back in the ring and behind his back, very clunkily and terribly, pulls her partner, who is unconscious, Candice LeRae, on top of the also now unconscious for some reason, Maxine Dupree.
She's sleeping.
So then they 3 count. That was 10 minutes of my life that I will never get back. And now I've had to also explain it to you for 5 minutes.
Yeah. You should get Hulu.
Yeah, evidently. But I don't want to miss Andrade matches, though.
No. Does Daniel Garcia paint?
Oh, yeah. I guess he does. Yeah. But, okay, yeah. But the Andrade match was fine. There's limitations for Dominic. but it was fine. And apparently, maybe they're not going to do the Ricochet Andrade thing that they teased at the end of this match.
No idea.
Because they cut it out of Hulu. So maybe they're like, we'll pivot from that. We don't like it.
Now that I look at my notes, I do have 7 not wrestling segments in a row. You think I would have had hey, why are there 7?
Why are there 7 not wrestling? Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
How long is the broadcast on?
Like an hour and a half?
Oh, yeah. You couldn't do what I watched. An hour and a half.
No.
Because I tried my best. But I don't want to fast forward too much stuff because I want to be able to talk about it. And it's still like 2 hours of my life.
I think I have to start watching this live.
Probably. I had no in your defense, I had no goddamn idea that they cut a bunch of stuff on Hulu from Raw.
Not only for that reason, it's just, yes, definitely for that, but also like the temptation to fast forward is really strong when watching this show.
Sure.
And I got to sit through these commercials anyway, dude. If I hit the wrong button, I got to sit through 3.5 minutes of commercials. It's brutal.
I fast forward through commercials and it's still tedious.
Yeah.
Because of the way that it's laid out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point.
Like
you probably don't get the same
sometimes.
feeling that I do.
No.
From if the layout of the show is done differently, if it's edited differently in post or whatever.
That's wild. I wonder why they do that. Well, we have discovered a little nugget here, haven't we?
I wonder if that other Raw that I was like bitching so hard about the pacing, I was like, I'm going to quit watching wrestling forever. If you saw like a 10 times better one that week.
The one I saw was 8 minutes long.
It was just Will Ospreay with an hour-long match. That was the Raw you got.
Oh, I was just watching Will Ospreay on YouTube.
Yeah.
We just called it Raw.
They just had Will Ospreay.
So what did they
wrestle
do with
Takeshita?
So Ricochet? It's going to be Ricochet and Andrade.
Yeah, he made the save for Andrade.
So who won? Andrade.
But then the Judgment Day did the beatdown thing.
Okay, so it's going to be Andrade.
Ricochet came down and saved him.
I tell you what, I don't hate that. I don't hate Andrade and Ricochet.
They have no idea how to handle either one of those guys.
Yeah.
So maybe if they put them together, they can do something.
Maybe if they put him. What was Andrade's masked character?
He wore a mask on this entrance.
But like, didn't he used to wrestle in a mask? Or am I making that up?
He just had that mask that he loves. He still has it. Just his entrance.
Where I was going with it. Make him a masked wrestler and then make Ricochet Prince Puma and just like let us have fun for a little bit.
Yeah. They are doing some kind of a Lucha Underground
reboot?
Somebody's doing like a show, like a
Is it
big
back
show.
on
I think it's going to be on TV. I don't think it's going to be a regular series. It might be a one-off, but it's going to be on like some streaming thing or something. But they're doing a Lucha Underground reimagining or rebirthing, whatever,
Not
reboot. I love Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. Like Prince Puma and a different character for Andrade, I'm all for it because they've not known what the hell to do with Ricochet the entire time they've had him.
We haven't given Daniel Garcia Pants Andrade as chance yet, so maybe they're going to let him shine. I don't know why they don't do something with Ricochet and Samantha because she's like universally beloved by everyone that references her that works for the company. They're about to get married.
Except
do a thing.
Dave Hebner. Did you see that?
No.
It was pretty funny because she's great on Twitter too.
Yeah.
It was like Earl Hebner's son or something. Just was bitching about her on Twitter and like, oh, she's so over the top and ridiculous and it's like cartoonish and clowny. And she responded, Earl Hebner had a son, which was very amusing. She's very good on Twitter.
You think the Hebners just wear referee shirts all the time?
I think that they are probably pieces of shit from the books I've read and knowing what I know about like the screw job and a bunch of other Vincey shit. Yeah. I think the Hebner's probably not good people.
He looked like he was going to throw up that whole match.
Yeah,
So I'm going to die tonight.
Still did it though, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did, which caused the probably worst decision that company has ever made in the history of this company.
The other one that I would still blame, but he found Jesus, so I'm okay with it. He admitted all of his bullshit and that he was a prick.
And he publicly atoned for it.
Earl never admitted any of that stuff.
As CM Punk said, the apology needs to be as loud as the disrespect, and Shawn Michaels just owned it live on TV. Hey, here's a match I haven't seen. We're still watching the Andrade Dominic Mysterio match. What else?
Drew had a nice Twitter today too. Punk posted a reimagining of the Drew T-shirt.
Yeah, but
it was like with Drew's name on the Punk's face on Drew's body and Drew's name on the headstone. But Drew's WrestleMania 40 2024 to 2024 and Drew immediately just responded with I've never had to put somebody else's face on a t-shirt to sell it.
Got him.
Speaking of good Twitter games.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't even know where we're at.
So what I have next is looks like the Usos are getting back together. His Yeet, because they went. This was for me at least the backstage
with Kathy Kelly.
Jey Uso very clearly hinting that the Usos are getting back together.
He felt bad for his brother.
It's like, oh, I told him he should have come with me.
Yeah, Bloodline's a dark road. And then like he switched characters. It was either like really good, like he's a really good actor, or he's like a sociopath that doesn't know how to read the room correctly.
No, his performance here I thought was pretty solid.
He is a good actor. For as much shit as we give him, like he's good at his job.
That was like all his Bloodline stuff was pretty good.
Yes.
He does the facials.
He's an insanely good actor.
Yeah.
And like barely had to move to convey all the emotion to drive that entire he was part of wrestling being cool. Like all the thing they did with Sami Zayn and everything. Like Jey Uso
big
was
part of all that
central
story.
to that.
Yeah.
And that's what made wrestling and this company fun again.
The Usos just stopped caring about wrestling. So
one of them did. Because, 1-star match at WrestleMania. But he's like, oh, I feel bad. My brother got attacked. And he's like, but tonight, Finn Balor, yeet, 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 yeet. What does that mean? Is that like Roll Tide?
Yeet. It means to throw. I don't know why. If you yeet something, you're throwing it. If I yeet the desk out of my window, I'm throwing the desk out of my window.
Okay.
I have no idea. I don't understand any of the Usos catchphrases.
Is that a verb?
I don't know what day one-ish means. I don't know what yeet means for them. I know what it
Uso-
means like in general, like pop culture, it means to throw.
I tried to put the Uso Penitentiary in my Google Maps. It took me to the Joliet prison.
Do you know what day one-ish means?
Not even a little bit.
Okay, so put it on the in the yeet category. It doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Well, they've been down since day one-ish. That's all I know. Day one-ish. Not day one. Like maybe day 3 or 4.
Yeah, why?
One-ish.
That's the point of saying you're down since day one.
Yeah.
That you're down since day one. But if you're down since day one-ish,
you
just worked that, so don't say anything.
Maybe the week before day one. Also, too, their T-shirts.
You can't be down with something before you know it exists.
No.
It's day one.
That's like a hipster's dream to be
100%.
to be down like before something's even a
I
thing.
do that all the time on Reddit when people talk about Cody Rhodes and loving him since they returned or whatever, and I'm like, I loved him since he was feuding with Malachi and everybody hated his guts.
So you have been down since day one-ish.
No, I've actually been down since day one. The people I'm arguing with have been down since day one-ish.
Yeah,
I guess
like after one.
So I guess I can use it in that context. It does make sense in that context.
Can a kid in school, like if he's taking a math test and he's like, "What's the answer?" One-ish.
One-ish. Probably not. I don't think the Usos could pass a math test, though.
What's 10 plus 13? Yeet. No yeet.
Yeet.
What? There's no letters in this answer, sir. All right, that was fun. I had a nice time. But yeah, he's clearly getting back together with Jimmy Uso because they're both like not doing super, and like there's not any career trajectory for either of them. So like, just go back and be the thing we loved.
Put them back together. Maybe take a break, get your heart back into the in-ring, and then have a tag run again.
Absolutely. But don't come back too early and then have to explain that you were not supposed to be back until the draft.
They could just say that we were going to come back, but we decided we would do it on day one-ish instead.
Yeah, day one-ish. There was a pay-per-view. Didn't they have day one? WWE day one? That was a pay-per-view?
Yeah. Right? It was the January 1st one.
Yeah. Well, they could do it on January 3rd and call it the day one-ish.
They could. It would be about as dumb as would fit for some of the stuff that they book on WWE television.
Anyone still listening to this, God bless you. We've beaten this topic into the ground.
This was where I got the Chelsea and Piper against the two NPCs that they wrestled.
Did I have that?
If you got no women's tag matches, I'm going to be incredibly pissed off.
So I have I have Piper and Chelsea against Jade and Bianca on SmackDown. That's it.
So you didn't see Chelsea Green and Piper Niven versus Katana Chance and Caden Carter?
Not even a little bit.
Holy crap. You got a much better Raw than me. Maybe I should watch Hulu instead of you watching.
I was wondering what you were bitching about. The next thing,
we won't be able to review the show, but I'll enjoy it a lot more.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the Jey Uso thing we just talked about was my backstage segment or my production segment. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one in a row. Because the next thing I got was Kathy Kelly interviewing Liv Morgan.
Yeah, that was what happened right after the tag match.
And then I got Cody.
Yeah, I had
caught up on
two
that
not
one?
wrestling things in a row.
Right.
My notes for the Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Katana Chance, Caden Carter match were just Michael Cole at one point said that Chance and Carter are so like dynamic you can't take your eyes off of them, which is the opposite of what was happening on the television. I was like, there are two people I'm interested in, and then two absolute NPCs with no character, nothing going on. Like not great in the ring either, but like nothing interesting happening.
Maybe he has like a list of phrases or like a soundboard when he doesn't know what to say. Like when you're playing a video game. It's a very
reasonable thing to believe.
It's like, what do you say here? They're so dynamic in the ring. Look at their dynamicism in the ring. Shit like that.
But like
dynamicism?
To say, like, put a point on, you can't take your eyes off them when, like, I had just been thinking, Jesus Christ, these two may as well just be total jobbers. It made me laugh, at least. And then my other, like, the note was from when you were talking about SmackDown, my note was actually from Raw that, I'm glad they're at least if they're going to do the women's tag division, they're going to push it hard, like this hard, because to me, it was pushed real hard. To you, it was not pushed at all because you had no matches and I had two. And like, if you're going to push it this hard, at least I'll give you the grace of you're putting Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, a team that I enjoy and like, back together. And that, along with like Bianca and Jade, there's a couple of interesting teams there, so maybe elevated a little bit. It was garbage on this show, but like maybe elevated a little bit. So like, okay, I'm happy about that. That's my only positive from.
Oh, there are. I was gonna say, are there women's tag team champions? It's Kyrie saying.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
They got no one to work with.
They got no one to work with. Well, like Piper and Chelsea, maybe like that'll be solid.
It's at least a different dynamic.
Yeah, and Piper's really. I watched Piper in like
she's always been good
in the Indies. Yeah, she was great.
She's always been.
She was Viper back then, but
I remember when she got called in. I'm just like, good hire, man.
Yeah,
good hire.
They tried to fuck her over by calling her Dewdrop and making her a joke, but
Eva Marie's sidekick or whatever.
I was like, why is Viper called Dewdrop and acting like Humpty Dumpty right now? Like she was a murderous sounds like Scottish lady. Why is she?
It's like a bushwhacker.
Yeah, like a sheep herder.
Was the next segment Kathy Kelly and Liv Morgan, or do you have more on the tag match?
That was my only notes, and then no, I just said I love heel Liv.
She's doing great, man.
She's doing great.
Kathy Kelly asks her, is this the conclusion of your revenge tour? And Liv says, basically, I'm not the bad guy. Where was the sympathy when Rhea tore my shoulder and put me out for 8 months?
Good point.
Solid point. She's only got good points.
Always. Best kind of heel.
Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, shoulder for a shoulder, which I like.
Drew-ish. Yeah, absolutely. That was a great line.
This is karma, and she got what she deserved. And this is not the end of the Liv Morgan revenge tour. The end is her as champion, and I wrote she's very, very good.
It really fits this. Like, no, I love it. I'm a fan of Liv. Her last title run fell kind of flat, so I'm excited to see if she gets another one. Now it's going to be as a heel, because I think that is definitely the more interesting Liv.
I mean, you just drew a perfect parallel. This is female Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
And like
she's been killing it.
This is not only like, they're doing long-term storytelling. It's already a year in the rear. Like we already have stuff to look at. We don't have to be like, when Rhea comes back in 6 months, like no, they already have this.
100%. And they're doing it. And that's what good writing does.
Yeah.
If you're doing a good story, when something off the wall happens, it can fit into your story because it's like a well fleshed out, real kind of story. Yeah. It's not some nonsense. Did you see Liv's Twitter game?
I did. I was not on Twitter.
So it's always like a dude with like a Philly accent. I don't know why, but it's always like a Philly accent, basement dweller, creep. Posted a video of himself watching Liv Morgan match, saying, please tear your ACL. I want a tornado, because he was mad about Rhea. Even a paralysis would be even better. And,
paralysis?
Yeah. And then, I think, SRS or somebody shared that. Like, look at this fucking guy. And then Liv responded to that dude and was like, guys, don't be so upset. That guy looks like he jerks off into a sock in his basement for a living. And I was like, well done, Liv.
And then he did, because he got acknowledgement. Yeah. Because she is not hard on the eyes at all.
Which also I like better as a heel, when you're like the classically, traditionally attractive, you got like the cheerleader, like the high school prom queen kind of look. It just plays better as a heel.
You mean like Bronson Reed? So he's
just untraditional.
No, he was the support. He was the bottom of the pyramid.
Yeah.
He's a sturdy gal. Cody Rhodes was in the ring next. Cody Rhodes was in the ring next? Yes. I say that with a question because I don't even know what's on the show.
I had 2 non-wrestling segments.
Cody gets in the ring and he says, "What do you want to talk about?" But en français, and the place goes nuts.
Yeah.
Can they start doing this in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, where they're speaking whatever? Like they have to become like multilingual.
Farsi in Saudi Arabia?
Great
I think it's
question.
Farsi.
I don't know. I mean, like you go like 100 miles in each direction in certain parts of Europe, and it's different dialects of everything. So I don't even know.
I was just bitching about
God, I don't know, the Middle East. I'm even more
different Canadian accents. So like
English. I've been to Canada. They speak English.
Yeah. Not in Montreal, they don't.
No, Montreal.
They speak French and they look at you like you're an asshole if you try to speak English to them.
Montreal.
Montreal. Say it or don't. Say it Montreal or Montreal.
It sounds
don't
like
say Montreal.
I feel like I got a real I'm getting a brain freeze, but I don't want the ice cream in my mouth to leave my mouth. I'm like Montreal.
That's what it's supposed to taste like.
Yeah.
It's a French word.
Oui. So Cody says, "What do you want to talk about in French?" He acknowledges that Adam Pearce let him hang out on Raw, even though he's a SmackDown guy, which I liked. That's little things like that, because right at the top of the show, I'm like, why the hell is this guy here? And he's like, hey, let me hang out. And like, it was such a passing comment. I'm like, great. He said he's going to face either AJ Styles or LA Knight at Backlash in France. I mentioned earlier, like, yeah, he mentioned this is coming up, but like, this is very clearly just something to do for now, right? They got to do, I don't know. And then he brings up Seth. Then I wrote, UGH with 17 H's after it. I'm tired of hearing
He's taking some time, right, Seth?
Him and Becky are both taking time, which is good. Like, good. Go find a new rapper, pop punk guy besides Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
And I mean, go be Post Malone. Like, I like him.
I like Post Malone.
Yeah. If I could do Seth Rollins cosplaying as Post Malone.
Good song in that Spider-Verse soundtrack, too.
I don't think I've ever
Sunflower, I believe.
I've heard so many snippets of Post Malone songs. I don't think I've ever heard one.
That's the only one I know by name, because me and my daughter have watched that movie a million times together.
Yeah.
That's like,
those are good movies too. So he brings up Seth and says Seth would. Seth said.
That's a tough one.
She
said seashells by the seashore.
It's about Seth being his shield, and he's sitting at home and he wants to thank him because he was the shield when he wasn't, because logic prevails. He talked about The Rock, and I just don't care right now.
The second time on the show,
I just don't care. Like,
about a guy who's been not going to be there for 5 months
forever. Like, focus on now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you bring up Seth.
It's the timing thing. You can't really focus on now, because right now it's especially for that title. Yeah. It's like I'm going to face villain of the week.
Yeah, and they're in limbo, and it's like whoever Umaga is, for the moment, which sucks that they never pushed that guy. He was so great. Good. Cody thinks The Rock has a lot more than one match left in him, because he was saying how The Rock was training for an insane amount of time prior to the match, and he's like, "Oh, Rock's like, oh, I got one more match." He's like, "I think he's got a lot more than one left in him." And he briefly passes through the events of SmackDown with.
I disagree. I think he maybe has three.
Tonga.
3 matches.
Cody, Roman,
3 big ones,
and then maybe
a wild card. That was basically my somebody who's ever they have pushed to that point by whenever Cody and Roman happens.
I think I've identified what the third match is, and it made me want to throw my
podcast
laptop.
taker.
Yeah. I saw people hinting at that, and like there was company acknowledgement of it, and they're like they might be planting seeds.
But the only reason Taker was on Rainy is because they didn't want to pay Austin.
Correct.
Like.
Nobody wants to see sweatpants Undertaker.
No. I don't want to see him on the podcast in his podcast outfit, talking about how it's better back in the day.
His career ended great. The cinematic match with AJ.
Oh yeah,
he looked.
You mean where it should
awesome.
have ended?
Yes,
and not the Saudi Arabia death match that he had with Goldberg.
No, what are you talking about? Shawn Michaels retired.
Or it looked like he was like either trying to take revenge for Bret Hart on Goldberg, or Goldberg was trying to take revenge for all the young kids that Undertaker bullied on Undertaker.
This must have been, I don't know, I have Hulu. I didn't see this match.
I just got, that's the problem. I should have been watching WWE on Hulu this whole time. They're just would have been great.
They're protecting me.
Cut all the fat.
Because as far as I know, Shawn Michaels on Hulu has not wrestled a match since WrestleMania 26. And it's going to stay that way.
Yeah.
Hulu needs you to keep
You know what? I think I just discovered where the two shows converge.
All right.
I think Rampage happens in Saudi Arabia. They're both in the same alternate universe.
Oh, man. This Marvels thing is getting a little out of control with these multiverses. Jey Uso comes out and
Finn
Cody
versus Jey, right? Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
He gives him his bullshit endorsement.
Yeah.
Cody volunteers to have Jay's back tonight against Balor, and Jay says he appreciates it, but he's got to do it on his own. He goes, I just got to be me. The Yeet Master, Mr. Yeet Down, the new World Heavyweight Champion, main event, Jey Uso. Cody says good luck and bounces after they hug, and then they both say Yeet at the same time.
The soon-to-be tag team, not main event, Jey Uso.
God.
This match was a little bit better than I thought it was going to be, but mostly because Finn could wrestle sack of potatoes.
So I'm a man of conviction.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a second of this match because I'm not watching Jey Uso.
Think of a Raw match. Jey Uso Raw match specifically.
So
this was like...
coincidentally enough, I've never
one
seen
of
that
those.
either. Yeah.
Very much one of those.
Yeah.
I have no notes, literally no notes.
I saw the end because I have to. Jey Uso spears Finn Balor, does the Uso splash, gets the W.
Finn sold for him pretty good.
Finn's fucking great.
Yeah.
Like
this was Finn and a broomstick.
Yeah. I love him so much. Like, I want to
I'll trade you a Wardlow and a Hook, even, for one Finn Balor, AEW to
1,000%. Oh, God, can you imagine?
I think Hook would be smart for him to, if he's serious about taking the offer, because I think he needs house shows.
Yes.
I usually don't like house shows because it takes like years off of people's lives and careers and whatever. Yeah. But when you're specifically Hook, a guy that's had just a handful of matches, the only way to get the reps that you need for the in-between stuff is to wrestle a shitload of matches. And he's not an independent wrestler, so he's not doing indies.
And they have the Performance Center too.
Fuck that. Just let him wrestle. I hate the Performance Center, but let him wrestle and put him on house shows. That experience is how you get to be a good wrestler.
He's going to go to the Performance Center. He's going to learn how to talk.
How to do stupid, boring cadence.
He's going to learn how
to not be cool.
How to hold a rest hold for 17 minutes. And he's going to learn how to get a hot tag.
I just think the experience, he's not going to be able to get it in AEW unless he wrestles indie shows, which he's not doing.
You're right. I wonder what he charges.
For like an indie booking?
Yeah, he's got to be through the roof.
Be a lot.
Yeah.
I know from the documentary on Netflix that the dude from TNA, who I've never seen outside of TNA, charges $600 on an appearance.
That's light. Feels light.
That's a TNA guy from the Bobby Roode tag team, the other guy.
Oh, James Storm.
Not Bobby. Yes, James Storm.
Who was in NXT for a cup of coffee.
Not Bobby Roode, and also pretty old, charges $600.
Yeah.
So $10,000 for Hook.
Bobby Roode should start doing indies because, God.
I think, isn't he semi-retired? He got a super bad back injury.
Is that what happened?
I think so, yeah.
I fully regret the last sentence I said. It had, I was about to lay into
no, it's not your fault. They never said anything about it. I saw him on social media or something talking about it.
News is not glorious. So Judgment Day comes down. Damian Priest first, and then the Judgment Day jumps Jey Uso from behind. And Jey just escapes through the crowd. And then they do the
coolest
coup de grace, no pun intended because it's Finn, of camera shots that they've ever done as a company.
I'm going to say this. It's not a gripe because it didn't hurt the segment whatsoever. It's just funny to me. Where was Jey going?
The front door.
And if Jey didn't come to the front door, what was Sami going to do? What was his plan? Just hang out in the lobby, wait for a camera to come.
Yes,
because otherwise they would have just been waiting for him to walk a super long way after his music started. But I'm sorry, continue. This was awesome. I had
the same.
What was their if this is real life explanation for this?
It was kind of it was cool. I think
it was super cool.
Super cool. They just did it just for. So it is it's a 2 minute and 35 second. No cuts at all. It's one camera following Jey Uso.
2 actors involved.
Yeah. And they're walking through. Jey Uso walks through the crowd. He walks onto the concourse where all the fans, he's in the fans.
Yeah,
right?
He had to push one guy out of the way.
Yeah.
Did you see that dude? The guy that didn't understand what was going on because he's the worst kind of wrestling fan. Tried to take a selfie with Jey Uso while he's walking with a camera behind him.
The room, dude.
And he just pushed him off of that.
This was the intro credits for the Naked Gun movies, just following Jey Uso, the back of his head through the crowd. So as Sully just said, he's walking, and he walks out the front door where he sees ring ready Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn.
In the front door lobby. Oh, that you would come in through as a fan.
Yes, it's the ticketed entrance. And to Sully's point, All his clothes are the opposite direction, and they're backstage, and he's just going out the front door where there's nothing.
They didn't like.
There's no taco truck or nothing.
Mention Sammy saying, "Come meet me" before my match or anything. You just randomly walked out the front door.
It was silly, but the method they did to get there made it made it worth it. So he runs into Sammy. Sammy's just looking up, and Sammy says the first show he ever saw in his life was in this building 25 years ago.
Yeah.
What?
Very cool. Yeah.
How old is Sammy?
A little bit younger than me.
So he didn't go to a show until he was like in his 20s?
Well,
his late teens?
It would have been late teens.
That
probably.
seems a little.
I think maybe he's younger than that.
Here we go. Sammy Zayn, age.
He's just been wrestling so long.
Oh, he's 39. Okay, 14. That tracks. He's younger than me. I've never been tag team champion.
Was he wrestling on the Indies when he was 17, 16?
That explains his body size.
I'm realizing because I let Raw keep playing that we actually got the Rhea Ripley recap 2 times on the show that it occurred on. We got the replay of Rhea doing the promo that she opened the show with on the same show 2 times.
Yeah. I like Rhea with extensions. Just going to say.
Yeah, it's a good look.
It's a great look. So, so Sammy's outside. He says the first show he ever went to in his life was in this building 25 years ago. Now he comes back as champion. Okay, now that I know that he was 14 years old, that's awesome because I believe I was like 14 the first concert I went to. He walks in tonight like he did all those years ago, right through the front door. Yeah. My next note was, why did Jay walk out the front door? But we already covered that. And then they
doesn't he say before he starts walking, the greatest wrestling city in the world? Let me show you guys. Follow me. That was cool too.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. Because then the camera guy was like, okay, and then he's following Sammy.
I was feverishly typing at this point, so I don't like to rewind a lot. So I just try to get as much as I can.
Did you see my house show text?
Yes.
So this is what inspired me to try, because I was trying to then think of what my first wrestling show was.
Yeah.
And it was 1989 at the Rosemont. My dad took me to a WWF house show. Mm-hmm. So I looked up you can find all the stuff because wrestling fans are very cool in this way. Everything gets cataloged.
Everything's archived.
And
there it is.
There she is. Yeah, 1989, September 16th, house show. I know you guys are super interested in this. When I was 10 years old, I saw WWF World Heavyweight Champion Hulk Hogan with Miss Elizabeth and Randy Macho Man Savage in the main event of a house show. The rest of the card, Coco versus Genius. I remember Coco being fun. Hercules, Bad News Brown, Tito Santana, Haku, Ron Garvin,
Rocket Ronnie Garvin,
which now is a wrestling nerd. If I could go back in time, I would enjoy that match, but I probably thought it was boring as hell when I was 10.
Yeah.
And Hacksaw versus Ted DiBiase for the King's Crown.
Yeah. I had to Google what that was.
I assumed it was a King of the Ring thing or something.
It's something akin to that, yeah. I think my first wrestling event was a house show. I believe also Shawn Michaels was champ. It's either that or SummerSlam '94. I can't remember. It's one of those two.
Yeah.
That was the first televised event in the United Center.
Oh, that's cool. I saw a primetime taping.
Yeah.
2 Hogan house shows because I was a Hulkamaniac when I was a kid.
You know what else we saw? The debut of Chris Jericho in WWE.
We did. Yeah, Dave and I together.
Greatest night ever. So anyway, back to present day. Still on the same camera cut. Jay has walked out. Sammy has given his little speech. He said, follow me. He says, follow me. Sammy walks back the same way Jay came, and they walk back into the crowd. It's a 2.5-minute shot. It's a single shot. It looks badass the entire time.
Yeah, no cuts. Even on the Jay walking out, again, 2 actors involved. Yeah. 2 that had to, and Jay thinking on his feet, pushing that fan out of the way.
Sammy's Sami Zayn in Montreal. He's over like Rover.
Erupts.
I don't know if this was a plant, but somebody gave him a Canadian flag and he just took it and draped it.
I think it was a fan. I think it was a real person.
Because it felt really just purposeful. I'm like, oh, that flag.
It was perfect timing and everything, but I actually remounted it a little bit because I'm like, is that a plant? And I think it might have just been a person. Yeah. And just Sammy took advantage.
I like that better then. Drapes around his neck for a while, and then I think it went to commercial. It may have not, but the next thing we see is Chad Gable's backstage, and Bronson Reed stops him prior to him coming out. And he says, the winner has to worry about him. Okay.
Do they? Because the end of this thing makes me believe that this is just continuing.
Which I'm super fine with.
100%. It's my favorite thing that happened in wrestling this week. But
I didn't write down any spots necessarily. I just wrote, go watch the match because it's a goddamn banger.
yeah, my only note is this is exactly how you put on a one-on-one match that is amazing, but also leaves something for the pay-per-view match that is going to happen.
Absolutely.
It doesn't feel like they're holding back at all, but then when you look back at the match, you're like, oh, they could have done this and this and this.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do. So I have something to look forward to still, and it was already like a 5-star match.
Absolutely.
This was the first Raw match I can remember that I did I gave it the rewatch. I gave it the AEW rewatch.
Yeah.
I just rewound it and watched it twice.
So good.
It was an awesome match.
So good. Sammy wins clean as
More
a
neck
whistle.
stuff too. Chad Gable gets dropped on his motherfucking head in this match.
Yeah, we gotta, which is fine. Like it's a nice mix of
not
WWE
a dangerous
and
way. It's just an old like a AEW Japanese kind of thing.
They know
Shit
what
I
they're
love.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's Chad Gable.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Sami Zayn wins. Shockingly, Sammy's wife apparently works for the company now because she's at every
Love
show.
It. She's great.
It humanizes the shit out of him. He hugs somebody else, probably another family member, and while he's embracing his wife, Chad Gable wraps him up in a German suplex and German suplexes him outside the ring.
The shit out of him.
Hashtag heel turn, and then he beat the shit out of him
Love
to
it.
end the show.
Now I understand why Chad Gable wasn't the guy to go after the Intercontinental title because it would have taken time to turn him heel. They didn't. They want to do the heel face dynamic. Love that. These guys have incredible chemistry, obviously, together. We're going to get another match.
Yes.
Love that. Love Sammy's wife. Obviously, somebody who's listened to the podcast when I was talking about what a good actress she is.
Yeah.
Put her back on TV. Love that. Love everything about this. My favorite, it's best booked thing in wrestling right now. My two favorite things: New Elite, Intercontinental title in WWE.
Yeah.
Like this is the best thing.
You know, I have nothing to add. Everything you said, I agree with. I saw somebody griping because I too went to the comments of some things.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Always a mistake.
Wasn't Chad Heel just a? I'm sorry, Chad Heel. Wasn't Chad Gable just a heel? I go, shut up. How about shut up?
How about like this story makes more sense and is a lot more fun for us if there are defined.
He's not running a training academy anymore.
No,
stupid.
and he's
like
also he's going to be in a faction with the freaking what do they call it? Creed brothers. Who, like that looks like a big heel faction now, which is awesome too. Like I like them better as heels too.
Is he going to be in a faction with Bronson Reed too? Then he could it could be
like what I don't hate Bronson Reed. It's fine as if he's going to be their muscle or whatever.
Then it could be Gable, Reed, and the Creeds.
He's getting his new Otis.
I just wanted to.
he already had Otis.
Did he win?
Well, if he has Bronson Reed, he's not Otis. Well, but Gable just had Otis in his faction, so he's going to get not Otis.
Is this the evil version of?
It would be
Alpha
a very
Academy?
good one because it's like a couple of Olympic ass dudes with.
But you got the same guy. He's just a darker version of Otis.
Yeah, Otis, and it's also like an Olympic-y, themed kind of thing,
which he couldn't get with the other guys because he was training them.
Yeah.
But now
it's like the fully formed and they're bad guys.
Like he walked through.
It's all great.
Oh, that makes it even better.
Like working out with the Creeds would help Gable more than him helping anybody else.
Dude, that's like I mean, if you want,
I do think the Creeds are going to have to change their finisher because it's way too dangerous. But
is that the cannonball?
It's great. Looks awesome, but it's like there's no way to control that.
No,
like it's great, but
yeah. Well, when someone dies, they'll they'll change it. I mean, good. It's wrestling,
but it's a better heel finisher too, so it works better now.
Yeah,
like it's, it's like
they're mirroring Kurt Angle shit too, which I really like.
Yeah,
more comparisons.
Yeah, don't focus on him being short, Vince, you asshole. You accentuate, like Heyman always said, accentuate the positives, hide the negatives. You don't talk about them on TV.
Right. Made Balls Mahoney a career somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Balls. This show I thought was kind of, I would have given it like a thumbs down because of the way that it was. Just the way that the show that I saw, not the one Dave saw, the one that I saw, general thumbs down until the main event. And that was so great that it changed my perspective on the whole show because it was like the best match I've seen on Raw in forever.
And that's how you book a main event to make. They used to do this all the time in the Attitude Era. Like for as much as that era does not hold up, like they knew how to finish a show to get you to want.
Yeah, they also Raw was 2 hours. That was a big.
Well, that's probably everything was a sprint.
Yeah,
in fact, our matches were like 3 minutes long, if that. But
I
man, can't
just
wait.
watch Jerry Lynn. Speaking of that era, Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam.
In ECW?
The ECW, the first one, not even the pay-per-view one. They were going so fast.
Yeah.
Speaking of sprints, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're
derail it.
I would love to watch. Now I want to watch it. So good job, Triple H. You don't need to, in real time, poll the crowd at how well you're doing. When you do shit like this, we're gonna let you know you're doing good.
Yeah, cut that. And then basically do the Hulu cut and then get your ass off of TV unless you want to show your ass a little bit.
Right.
Everything else I'm good with on the show. And then the main event was just phenomenal.
Yeah. So, I mean, all good things trending. Finally, WWE's consistently trending in the right direction.
Yeah, and I like that. Like I said, it doesn't... for some stuff, it has to feel like limbo time, like it always does after WrestleMania, like Cody. But for most of the stuff, it doesn't feel like limbo time. It feels like they're moving forward, like the women's title stuff, the Liv stuff, obviously Gable and Sammy, and we got like Drew and Punk happening in the background still. It doesn't feel like a lull period.
No, not even a little
Just
bit.
got to get that belt off of Cody, keep Triple H's ass off of TV. If you guys haven't already listened, go check out the AEW half of this podcast duo, which will go up at the same time as this one. Thanks for joining us as always.